Yo, everyone, and welcome to an I'm fanfic for you. We're back with another part of What If Issei got betrayed and become the red and white dragon emperor god of Ashikabi. But before we start, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel for more awesome contents. Now, let's start to part 2. Chapter 3. Saving Ku-chan. Botanical Garden. In the middle of the garden, little Kusano was lying down, tired from crying so much, so she was immersed in her dream, a beautiful meadow full of many flowers where she ran freely. Kusano. Come kitty Nyan. The kami. It's almost time, let's go back to the laboratory. He said, calling the little girl, who obeyed and took Takami's hand. Kusano. And Ashikabi and Ani-chan? Asked, very curious. The kami. That's right, if you're good you'll definitely know him. Kusano. Really? You promise? The kami. Yes, I promise. Said, and a girl with a scythe appeared in front of them. Ho, 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 he laughed arrogantly, standing in the way while he slashed. The kami. Kusano. Said, interposing herself in the attack, hitting her in the face, and when she recovered she found the girl with the scythe and a boy next to her. You. She said very angrily, and the man just smiled and approached Kusano, wanting to kiss her, but she didn't allow him. Kusano knew. He shouted, implying that he did not want to, in addition to holding the man's face, stopping him until he flew away to where the girl with the scythe was. The kami. Nuo Kusano, don't do it. Said, trying to stop the little girl, but it was too late since she, using her powers, created a huge shield around her using the surrounding vegetation. Out of the dream. Kusano. Help me, he said as some more tears fell from his eyes. Villa Isumo. The morning had arrived at the place, and Issei was quite thoughtful about the dream he had had for some reason. He knew that it was not 100% a dream since Drag and Albion told him that his connection with that Sekirei was a little strong, and I tried to talk to her, but I didn't know how to help her or find her. Issei. Connection, is there any way to know where Ku-chan is? I ask in his mental space. Drag. Connection, I would lie to you if I said there was. You may be connected to her through her soul, but it is not as strong as it is with your girlfriend or those two twins. Albion. He's right, Issei, we can only wait to find her. Musubi. Good morning, Issei-san. Said, pulling Issei out of his mental space. Issei. Good morning, Musubi-chan, and he, why are you wearing that? He asked, a little amused when he saw her wearing a girl's physical education suit. Musubi. It's easier to move with these clothes. Said, and Issei just laughed. Issei. That's normal, that's what the uniform is for. She said, and she put away her futon until a sound caught both of their attention, so they looked out, finding Miya, who had a hidden katana with which she cut a blade precisely. It's amazing, Ligiri, I guess it's a style that suits Miya-san, he said, and she began to cut more leaves. Musubi. Surprising. Said, drawing Miya's attention. Miya. Ara, good morning. Said when she saw both young people. Issei. Good morning, Miya-san. Said when he saw the woman, but Musubi looked at her with stars in his eyes until he jumped to Miya. Musubi. Homemade. Let's have a duel. She said, and Miya smiled. Miya. Fufufu, I won't hold back. Said, being in position until Issei jumped, surprising both girls, although Miya was surprised to see that he was holding an incredible sword. Issei. Miya-san, I would like a duel against you. He said while holding Escalating with one hand and pointing at a stunned Miya, who after a while got into position, and Issei in a quick movement launched the attack that forced Miya to block, surprising her in the process, but Issei did not stop as he continued with his attack. Since Miya had difficulty blocking and predicting the attacks until he stopped, surprising Miya. Continue your Musubi. He said to go sit and watch their duel. Musubi. Well, here I come. Said, quickly launching herself against Miya, who dodged her easily. Yuzume. That was incredible, Issei, you forced Miya to block all your attacks. She said, arriving at the place while hugging Issei from his back. By the way, where you had that sword? She said, a little surprised. Issei. I'm sorry, Yuzume-san, but it's a secret. He said, and she pouted. We'd better just watch the fight. He said so that she wouldn't get angry with him. Yuzume. If it's true. Said to continue watching the combat, although most of it was Miya who easily dodged Musubi's attacks. Miya. All your sides are unprotected, you should learn from Issei-san, he didn't even have an opening. He said, hitting Musubi's head with the sheath of his katana, since it was not necessary to draw it. The fact that you leave your sides unprotected proves that you are leading your power on your shoulders. Try to act more natural and relaxed while you commit yourself to the fight. You will be able to bring out all your power. He said, giving instructions to Musubi. Musubi. Yes. Said, very excited to be instructed. Yuzume. It seems like they're having fun. Said while using Issei's shoulder as a support for her head. Issei. If I couldn't train Musubi-chan so well. Isumo. By the way, why is she wearing gym clothes? Asked a little mockingly since she wanted to assume that they were Issei's taste. Issei. No idea when we bought clothes, she seems to have chosen them so I didn't realize that until now. Said seriously surprising Isumo. Isumo. Although, it really seems to suit her very well. Said watching the fight continue. Issei. Yes, she looks very pretty. Said very honestly. Isumo. Well, I guess sooner or later we'll have to fight even if I don't want to. Said, leaving the place, but not before giving Issei a kiss on the cheek, who turned to look at her. Issei. Will he have to fight, huh? Said a little worried about that fact. Isumo. If you know that we are Sekirays. Said and Issei lowered his head. Mia, I'm hungry. He said, interrupting the fight. Issei. Musubi-chan, I'll go to a job I got, I'll see you later. He said, leaving the place, not without forgetting to put Escalating in the boosted gear. Instructions zone. Poster. Safety first. Issei was in an area just a little away, chopping an area at high speed that surprised the other workers until lunchtime arrived. Worker. Guys, it's lunchtime. Issei. Ah, this is better so I can move my body more. Said with a smile as he held the pickaxe on his shoulder and remembered lunch. Memory. Mia. Issei-kun, here, I'll prepare this bento for you. Said a smiling Mia and Issei, in the memory, smiled back at her. End of memory. Issei. Mia-san was very kind to prepare me a lunch. He said very happily, and when he opened it a very delicious meal could be seen. Well, I will have to thank him a lot for this incredible lunch. He said, and when he was about to start a boy was next to him while he was drooling when he saw his lunch. Are you okay? He said when he saw the boy. What's up? He said when he saw that Issei was looking at him. Issei. Hello. He said calmly and without much emotion to see how he looked at the lunch, feeling a little bad for him. Ah, okay, I can share with you. He said a little resigned since he thought that maybe he hadn't eaten. Really? Thank you very much, he said somewhat animatedly, accepting an onigiri. You know how to. Issei. Is something wrong? Said somewhat confused. Nothing's wrong, he said, eating the onigiri in one bite. Issei. It's okay. Said not caring what he meant. Are you a student? I asked after finishing passing the food. Issei. Yes, something like that, and what about you? I've been a college student for almost 6 years, but you didn't hear that coming from me, she said with a smile. Hey, that fried egg looks delicious. Hibiki. Ah, because we have to bring food to that idiot and not honey. Said arriving at the place. Yukari. That seeing I don't finish speaking when I notice something. Honey. I shout reaching the place where I send the other guy flying. You stay away from my darling. He said holding the guy's shirt. Oh, you're Yukari-chan. Yukari. Don't say that to me, only my love can, plus you look pathetic, you're just a scumbag who takes advantage of my love's kindness. She said very angrily while Hibiki approached Issei, who received her with a hug and a kiss that momentarily took out his wings. Issei. I missed you, Hibiki. Said while hugging her lovingly since for some reason I really miss her. Hibiki. Me too, darling. Said a little embarrassed, but she felt very happy with those words. Yukari. Forgive this idiot, darling. She said reaching out to him, and he also hugged and kissed her, since for some reason he felt like he wanted to do it, even though he hid his wings with a barrier. I missed you, darling. She said very shy, I know. He felt very happy because of the affection. Hibiki. Honey, I brought some bread, please eat it. Said very happily, taking out a bread that he opened and offered to Issei. Issei. Thank you very much, beautiful. Said with a smile that made the Sekiray's heart race, who resisted a runny nose. The world is very small. Who would have thought that I would find their Ashikabi? My name is Kaoru Seo. Yukari. How annoying. Said and immediately launched a lightning bolt, electrocuting Seo who was complaining about the pain. Unknown place. News. Text, plants of unusual growth in the Botanical Garden will be removed. Reporter. Today in Tito and the MBI they have decided to forcibly remove the plants, which have grown beyond the expectations of the Botanical Garden. Yukari. What is all this? Yukami. I'm sorry, well I wasn't paying attention, that idiot sent a text message to several Ashikabi. Yukari. A text message. Yukami. There is a Sekirai in the Botanical Garden, whoever gets there first gets it, you could give the green girl wings, do you hear me? Hello? She said and Yukari was on the floor. Yukari. Even though I have watched daily and done my best to make sure no one gets close. Said very affected since her work was in vain. Thanks to that I might not be number 1 this month. Yukami. Yeah, I'll do whatever you want next time, just please protect her. Yukari. I'll do what I can. Ah well, you're at it, have a talk with Manaka for me, tell him that the fire that Izanami burned will burn him one day. He said, taking out a cigarette and placing it in his mouth. Yukami. You won't understand such a literal reference. Yukari Hamura. Why don't you tell him straight then? One of these days I'll kill him, she said, lighting a flame on his finger. Construction. Sayo. Fui. He whistled, watching as Issei dug a good trench to start construction. I didn't think they would get an Ashikabi, I thought they would end up being mine. He said while Issei followed his people. If you're here, I guess they contacted you. He said, taking Issei out of his concentration. Issei. What are you talking about? Said somewhat confused. Sayo. Don't play dumb, the green girl, right? Said, confusing Issei more, but he looked in one direction. Issei. The girl in green. Said looking towards where some helicopters were leaving. Are those from MBI? Captain. Oh, it's you, we're done for today Issei-kun, you could have left for a while, wait for a good pay, you saved us a lot of work. Sayo. Are we done? What's happening? I asked a little confused. Captain. You know what's happening over there. He said pointing to the trees. Everyone within a 2 kilometers radius has been ordered to evacuate. Issei. Why did they ask to evacuate? Said a little worried. Sayo. I know what happens. He said and Issei looked at him, if anything else could be done the two boys left the building while they saw how they closed the entrance. Hey, why don't we take a look at the green girl? He said as he passed by. His arm around Issei's neck and pointed at the entrance. Issei. I guess you know how to get in. Said and he smiled confidently. Villa Izumo. Mia was in the kitchen preparing dinner for her tenants, and just as she was cutting some ingredients, Musubi arrived at the place along with Hibiki and Yukari, who went to see their new house. Mia. Girls, dinner isn't ready yet. Said looking at the 3 Sekureis. Musubi. Does Ito know where Issei-sen is? Yukari. I knew you were stupid but not that stupid. Hibiki. I'm sure Darling told you where she went but you forgot. Said since they both knew where she was. Mia. Issei-kun. Now that you mention it, I thought he would have already returned home, she said, surprising the 2 Sekurei who remembered who their Ashikabi was with, and Musubi was getting a little restless. What's wrong, Musubi-san? Issei. Musubi. It seems that Issei-san forgot this and. Said a little worried. Mia. Her phone. Musubi. I have a very bad feeling. She said very worried. Yukari. I understand how you feel. Said just as worried. Musubi. It's the first time I feel something like this, I have to take it to Hibiki-san, Yukari-san, come on. She said ready to leave but was stopped. Mia. Musubi-san. Said stopping the aforementioned. Musubi. Yes. Said looking at the woman. Mia. Here is a good luck charm. He said touching the girl's head. This way you will receive the blessing of the gods. He said and she smiled. Musubi. Thank you very much. Said very animated. Garden entrance. Meanwhile at the entrance 2 brunette girls were reducing the MBI forces with great ease, and Issei thought that this was not very stealthy or prudent. Sayo. Hey, let's move now. Said calling Issei who was just looking at everything very tired. Issei. Yes, I'm coming. He said as if he didn't care about the great disaster they just caused. Mind, which world I end up arriving in. He thought tiredly when he saw the 3 of them posing as if they had done something incredible. Street. Musubi. Yukari-san, Hibiki-san are sure this was the way. Yukari. Yes, rookie, we're sure. Said a little angry because they doubted them. Hibiki. If you don't believe so much just because you were the first Sekurei of affection. Musubi. Is it here? I asked seeing that the place was closed. Yukari. If it's here. I didn't finish speaking as a loud explosion caught their attention. I'm not sure that idiot got Darling into trouble. She said very worried. Musubi. Issei-san. Said very worried. Botanical Garden. Issei. More than a garden, it's a huge jungle. Well, here I'll have to use a certain thing. Said to put his hands in a backpack he was carrying to reveal the boosted gear and the division glove. Sayo. Oh, I didn't know you fought, boy. Said very impressed. Issei. Just ignore me, focus on the surroundings. Sayo. Yes, you're right, but where should we go? Said and Issei felt their connection, and the image of Kusano was projected in front of him. Issei. Ku-chan. Said when he saw the projection of the little girl and it pointed him towards a place. Should I go that way? He asked and the projection disappeared. Sayo. What's up, you know where it is? Issei. Not exactly. Said upon seeing the boy in front of him. Sayo. She was dressed in a white piece, right? Said surprising Issei. Issei. Did you see it too? I asked, somewhat curious. Sekurei 29. Did you see anything? Sekurei 50. No. Said while shaking his head. Sayo. Is she the one here? Issei. I'm not sure but I have to go get her. he said very confidently while clenching his fists with his two gloves, which made Seo smile. I'm sorry how she's crying, I won't let her cry anymore, I'll save her. Seo. I only came to see what would happen, but I think I'll change my mind. He said, surprising Issei. I'll see it with my own eyes, you and the green girl. Outside the garden. Hamura. You can tell they are serious. Who was it? They entered directly through the main entrance. It's been so long, Hamura-san. Said a female voice that called out to the white-haired girl. Hamura. And the person who is the root of all this, number 43 Yomi. Said, looking at the Sekirei who had a side. Yomi. So I am the root. Aren't you thinking too much? I've come to take her, the green girl, whoever gets there first gets her. Hamura. I won't give number 108 to someone who refers to her as first come, first served. Said, preparing a fire attack. Yomi. You are despicable, you are just a Sekirei who left the game to be a false guardian Akitsu. Said, calling the Sekirei who created ice spikes, freezing Hamura's legs. She will be your opponent. He said, looking at the Sekirei to give a jump and pass by Hamura. I'm sorry but I have to go. Hamura. Wait. Said, but dodged an ice spike that was thrown at her. Akitsu. Your opponent is me, if I do it you will help me find my Ashikabi, if I don't defeat you, I will never be able to find him. He said without much emotion in his voice. Hamura. Mind has the mark on her forehead. Out of mind, are you an abandoned number? He said, and she didn't respond. Musubi. Look, Hikari-san, Hibiki-san, this is Kagari-san. Said, arriving at the place. Hikari. That's Hamura. Said, a little scared, and Hamura was surprised. Musubi. Oh, her name is Hamura, sorry, I'm wrong person. She said innocently. Kagari-san was not a masked guy, sorry for confusing you. She said, looking at Hamura while Hikari and Hibiki were surprised at the girl's innocence and clumsiness until they noticed how was entering the place. Hibiki. Hey, wait for us, if you go in alone you'll surely get lost. He said, following the girl. Hikari. Don't leave me behind. Said, following the two. Akitsu. Are they your friends? Said without emotion, without taking his eyes off Hamura. Hamura. No better, just concentrate on the fight. Said, a fireball appearing. Garden interior. Issei. Mind drag, Albion senses something nearby. Spoke in his mind, and the two dragons only told him that there were some more presences. Seo. Hey, how much do you know about the Sekirei? Said, pulling Issei out of his conversation, who turned to look at him. Issei. I only know some things that I have had to deduce. Said calmly. Seo. I see you're an Ashikabi, so at least you know how to give them wings and make them yours, right? Issei. A kiss, right? Said, and he nodded. Seo. The trick is to make contact through mucous membranes. Normally the Sekirei react to Ashikabi whose genes are compatible and then seek contact. Well, at least in the beginning, the Sekirei were supposed to find their Ashikabi on their own, but he said, drawing Issei's attention, the problem is that an Ashikabi can force a Sekirei to obtain her wings no matter what she wants. Issei. TSK, how damn. Said very angrily. Seo. That's why there are some damn people forcing the Sekirei to get their wings, to increase their number of Sekirei. Issei. Seo, don't tell me that you, he said, remembering when he said something at lunchtime. Seo. Do they look like the type that would let me do it? Said, and both brunettes glared at him. Issei. I feel bad for them. Said, very disappointed. Seo. If you are really being called by the green girl, you are the right one to be her Ashikabi. We need to let those idiots know that there is no such thing as first come, first served when it comes to things of destiny. Issei. Don't worry, I'll make sure they understand. Garden center. In the center was Kusano, who was sobbing until she woke up. Kusano. Ani-chan. Said, feeling a presence, so he looked out. Yomi. So you were hiding here? Anyway, come here, my waiting master. Nearby place. Seo. Hey, why are you running and how are you running so fast? Said, trying to maintain his speed, but it was difficult for him. Issei. I don't know, I just feel like I have to run. Said very hurriedly, and one voice could be heard. Greg. Boost 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 boost. Sekirei 29. What is that sound? Garden center. Yomi. Hurry up and come here. Said, pulling the girl. Kusano. No. No. Yomi. I came here just to pick you up, you know. She said very angrily with a vein on her forehead and releasing Kusano, who fell to the ground, and she was holding her side. Don't you think we should punish those who listen to us? Fufufu. Issei. Stay away from Ku-chan. Shouted, arriving at high speed, giving a strong blow to Yomi, who flew away. Yomi. Who you are supposed to be. Said, a little affected by the blow. Sekirei 50. Leave it to me. He said, arriving at the place and attacking the girl. Yomi. You are Taiga and Asuka, you will be damned. His Ashikabi is nothing but trash and makes them work like bitches for him. Taiga. You think we don't know, stupid. Said with great anger. Asuka. We would prefer anyone except your Ashikabi, no matter how rich he is a trash who manipulates others. Said, and Seo felt bad. Issei. Who are supposed to be arguing? Said without paying attention to the Sekirei's talk until a voice spoke to him. Kusano. Ani-chan. Said, calling Issei, and he also looked at her with a smile. Issei. We finally meet Ku-chan. Said, sitting in the place, and she looked at him. Kusano. You are my Ani-chan. Said, falling tiredly into Issei's arms. Issei. Ku-chan. Said, very worried. Drake, Albion, tell me how he is, what his status is. He said, but a voice sounded next to him. Yomi. Hey, stay away from her. He said, approaching with his scythe pointing at Issei. My master has had his eyes on that Sekirei. He said, being about to attack, but Issei raised his hand with the division glove. Albion. Divide, divide, divide. Said 3 times that were enough to weaken her quite a bit. Taiga. Asuka, finish her off. Said, and her partner launched an attack against a weakened Yomi, although the one who arrived at the place first was Musubi, Hikari and Hibiki. Issei. Musubi-chan, Hikari, Hibiki. Said, a little surprised to see his Sekirei. Musubi. Issei-san. Said very happily. Hikari, Hibiki. Hello, darling. Both said very happily. Seo. So that's also his Sekirei. Said quite surprised, although the most surprised were Taiga and Asuka, who noticed the girl's affection when they named the boy. Yomi. Whatever you want. He said, still quite weak. Musubi. It's dangerous to swing something as sharp as this, you know. Said, holding the girl's scythe and breaking it in one simple movement. Yomi. My precious scythe of death. Said, very surprised and sad to see how it broke. Issei. What are you girls doing here? I ask, a little curious. Musubi. Here you go, Issei-san, you forgot this at home. He said, holding out Issei's phone. Issei. Did you come all the way to bring me my cell phone? I ask, a little confused. Yomi. You will pay me. I will never be able to forgive you. She said, launching herself against Musubi with a little of her strength recovered, throwing a wind slash, but Issei stood in between, resisting the attack and protecting the girls. Musubi. Issei-san. Said, very worried. Hikari, Hibiki. Honey. Screamed just as worried. Yomi. If you turn around, I want to see your face in pain. She said, throwing more wind slashes, but Musubi launched himself to attack her. Musubi. We'd better see yours. Said, giving a kick that made Yomi spit out blood. Hikari. Don't forget us, let's go, Hibiki. He said, charging with electricity. Hibiki. This is for hurting our darling. Said, and together they launched a powerful beam that made Yomi scream in pain. Yomi. They still need it. Said, launching a slash towards the girls, but the attack broke Musubi's clothes rather than causing damage, who was evasive. Hikari. Hey, cover yourself, you damn pervert, it's obvious that you like your clothes to rip. Hibiki. Honey, don't look at her, she's just shameless. Said, very angry. Seo. Oh, she has good breasts, too good for that college boy. Said, but Taiga and Asuka got angry at those comments. Asuka, Taiga. Seo. Both said, ready to attack him. Yomi. Yufufufu. Laughed a little crazy at just leaving Musubi's breasts exposed. That look suits you perfectly, I'm sure your Ashikabi is a pervert, right? Besides, he looks stupid and pathetic, she said, making Hibiki, Hikari, and Musubi quite angry. Musubi. Someone like you would never understand how gentle Issei is. Hikari. And loving. Hibiki. I doubt your master really loves you if you can't speak ill of him. Yomi. A half-naked Sekirei fits a pathetic-looking Ashikabi. Albion. Divide, divide. Was heard throughout the place, and Yomi fell to the ground. Yomi. What again? Issei. Better just shut up. Said, tired of the girl's attitude. Musubi. Don't worry, Issei-san, we won't lose. He said while covering his chest with his hands and showing great confidence. Let's go. Yomi. Better just give up. He said, getting up with difficulty from the ground. Hikari. You give up. He said, launching an attack that made her scream in pain. Hibiki. Take that, that's insulting, honey. Said, launching another attack that left Yomi quite scorched. Musubi. Mind Mia. As long as you commit yourself to the fight, you should be able to bring out your power. Committing myself to the fight, I should be able to bring out my power. He thought, reaching out to the girl. Where I snatch his clothes and touch his Sekirei mark. Out of mind. By the contract I have carried out, my fist will destroy what endangers my Ashikabi. He said, and the mark disappeared from Yomi's back. Yomi. It's impossible that I lost against them. She said, lying on the ground. Forgive me, Mikagami-sama. she said, but then she fell fainting from all the damage. Issei. Musubi-chan, Hikari, Hibiki, are you fine? He said, approaching where they were. Hikari. We're fine, honey. Said very happy for the concern he shows for them. Hibiki. Yes honey, we're fine. Musubi. Of course. And I managed to maintain my modesty. She said, keeping one hand covering her breasts. Issei. I don't think that's what you say, decency. Musubi. By the way Issei-san, who is she? Said looking at the girl that Issei was carrying paternally. Issei. Well, girls, she is. That's how he began to explain what happened to the girls. Unknown place. Mikagami. Yomi's presence has vanished and the other one betrayed me, I should have taken her by force tsk how useless. Garden entrance. Akitsu. You will help me find my Ashikabi. Said without much emotion. Hamura. Yes, I think it's very difficult. Akitsu. It's okay. Said without emotion, deciding to trust the Sekirei in front of her. It seems that Mikagami failed in trying to obtain Sekirei number 108. That was a boring show he said, and the two men left the site. Villa Izumo. Issei Musubi Hikari Hibiki. We're home. The four said when they got home. Mia. Welcome home. She said, arriving at the place to receive them. Oh wow, Musubi-san, what happened to your clothes? She said, seeing how Issei didn't have his shirt and Musubi had it. Hikari. It's a long story. Said quite tired. Mia. Ara and who is that girl? Asked, seeing how Issei carried Kuesu with great affection. Issei. She is the daughter of a relative, I will be taking care of her for a few years while he is busy with a very important matter. He said obviously lying, returning the one from a few nights ago. Musubi. He will stay with us. Said very happily. Hikari. I will be like your mother. Said very happily. Hibiki. I will also be your mother. They both said and Kusano woke up. Issei. Hello, good morning Ku-chan. Said with a smile when he saw the little girl awake. Kusano. I'm hungry. Said and everyone smiled. Mia. Ara, that's a problem, I'll make you something to eat right away. She said, quickly entering the kitchen and Issei looked at her thinking that she would be a nice mother. Later patio of the house. Issei. Haha, I met you right in that tree. He said, looking at the tree in the courtyard. Kusano looked at him. Fate is indeed strange, thank you for stopping my fall, I suppose that's why I didn't get hurt much, it was as if the tree offered us its arms to sustain us. Kusano. I heard a voice told me to help them. He said, drawing Issei's attention. That's why Ku asked him to save them. Issei. I see that makes them our saviors, now it's my turn, thank you very much Ku-chan. He said while caressing the girl's head and she looked at him with great affection. Kusano. Ito you know. She said standing up and Issei looked at her. Please be my Ani-chan. She said giving Issei a small kiss and beautiful green wings appeared on her back and the plants in the garden grew before of time, surprising Issei by this fact, as well as Musubi, Hikari and Hibiki, and Kuesu smiled happily because of the great affection she felt for being united to Issei's heart. The moment was nice and calm until the arrival of Kagari with another girl who, upon introducing herself to everyone, came the moment where she looked at Issei, since she could not take her eyes off of him, and without hesitation for a second she pounced on him, giving him a soft but affectionate kiss, surprising everyone present when beautiful ice wings appeared on his back. Akitsu. This is the ice of my promise, destroy the misfortunes of my Ashikabi Akitsu number 07, I will be eternally at your side my Ashikabi. He said denoting a little emotion and happiness in his words. Issei. Kagari-san, what's going on? Asked, somewhat confused, but his arms hugged Akitsu out of inertia. Akitsu. You were right, you found my Ashikabi. He said, returning to his cold and disinterested tone, but he did not leave Issei's side. Kagari. Good night, rest. Said, quickly fleeing the place when she felt free. Botanical Garden night. The person was walking with great interest through the huge jungle that Kusano had created. You were here, weren't you? He said touching one of the trees in the place and from this a flash of light appeared as well as around all the vegetation, but this did not make the vegetation stronger, since from one moment to the next everything without exception began to wither. Villa Izumo same night. When everything calmed down in the residence, Issei tried to ask for another room for his new Sekirei Akitsu, who did not leave his side, maintaining a stoic and disinterested face, but never left him for even a second, except at some moments or when he told him to. He asked, although at night he slept next to him, much to the jealousy of Hikari and Hibiki, but while they were sleeping outside the villa, Kagari left in the direction of a car. Kagari. Did you come to pick me up in a black limo? How luxurious, she said to a beautiful white-haired woman who had an eye patch over her left eye. Hikami. Well, that's what I promised, and it's better to do it at once. You had a bad time thanks to me. He said, and Kagari got into the car. Kagari, you think I don't know? Said that she did have to put in a lot of effort. Takami, how is number 108? I asked after taking a drag on a cigarette I had. Kagari, she's stable. He said, and the little girl was sleeping in Mia's room where Issei had taken care of her. For now it seems like she's fine. Takami, well, since they have that scary landlady in that place, there won't be anything to worry about. He said, blowing the cigarette smoke out of his mouth. Kagari, won't you ask me anything about her? Ashikabi Mia told me that he forced her to block his attacks. Plus she had a strange sword. She said, and Takami opened her phone. Takami, I don't need to ask many questions. I'm glad he's okay and back, and this will also make some children happy. He said, looking at an image with 3 children, 2 with black hair and 1 with brown hair, who were being hugged by a woman. Where were you all this time, Issei? Kun. Unknown place. In a place full of monitors, a girl with glasses reviewed all the information she could gather from Issei, only very little of it being about a small Issei Hyoudou and the current one that had been uploaded by Issei. According to the data, he is someone of an average level, although that is a lie since he fought with Mia-chan. There is not much about his schools, other than that he graduated with good grades and will soon enter university, plus he has 5 Sekiryuutei. He said, and on his computer the images of all of them appeared along with their numbers: number 88 Musubi, number 11 Hikari, number 12 Hibiki. Number 07, Akitsu, number 108 Kusano. I must say that he is very, very interesting. Next morning, Villa Isumo. Issei. Well girls, I'm going to work. Said, saying goodbye to everyone who was in the living room. Mia. Have a good day. Said with a nice and kind smile. Hikari Hibiki. Take care, darling, and thank you for the gifts. They both said to see some cute twin rings. Akitsu. Take care, master. Said without emotion, but a slight smile appeared on his face. Musubi. Good luck at work. Said very excitedly in front of him. She said, and when he was about to leave the news sounded, stopping him. Reporter. Vegetation that had been growing unusually fast in the Botanical Garden has been removed in a single night by MBI. The method used to remove the plants has not been revealed, but MBI admitted to not using herbicides. That was the news that had caught the attention of most since Akitsu was only drinking tea, and Issei looked at Kuesu, who was looking at the patio where the plants had grown. Issei. Was that because of Kuu-chan? He said, approaching the little girl. Is something wrong? He said, seeing her very concentrated in the courtyard where she had a vision where that solitary tree was beginning to dry out and lose its life, and in the end she ended up dying, causing her to start crying, worrying many. Issei, who quickly put his arms around her to calm her down. Now, my little one, here I am, he said to calm the little one down, and they all watched the scene very moved. What's wrong, my little one? He said, and she clung tighter to him. Kusano. Shai-chan. Said through tears. Issei. Shai-chan. Said, not understanding what was happening, but he attached her to him more so that she would calm down. Kusano. Shai-chan was someone very close to Ku like you. You know, Shai-chan told me that the trees I made grew so much that she said through tears. Issei. Mindly, I see she must have done something with the trees in the garden. Albion. If that is most likely. Greg. It sounds scary if you think about it. Said, a little surprised by the fact that he destroyed all those plants and trees. Kuesu. Shai-chan has the power to do the opposite of Ku. Issei. I understand. Said calmly while rubbing the little girl's back. Kuesu. What should I do? If she's not around, I'm going to end up doing the same thing again, she said with great fear at the thought of repeating the same thing, but she was surprised to feel Issei's grip, and he exuded calm and affection towards the little girl. Issei. Don't worry, everything will be fine. I will always be here to help you. I will always protect you and the others. He said with a big smile, and that made his Sekiryuutei very happy, who felt a very warm feeling in their hearts, and Mia held on to her heart. That was beating strongly, and Kuesu was smiling very happily. Kusano. Issei and Aichan, can you stay with Ku for a while? Asked, hugging Issei by the neck, and he just carried her to spend some more time with her. City streets. You could see that person who destroyed all the trees in the garden running through a somewhat desolate area until he suddenly turned around. Ku is crying. Construction zone. Issei. Ah, this is quite funny if you're used to moving. He said while carrying a huge wheelbarrow full of dirt that he pulled out of the ditch. Mind, a Sekiryuutei with the opposite power to Ku-chan's. Huh. I thought until he arrived with the boss. Out of mind. Oh hello captain. He said, drawing the man's attention, who turned around with a smile. Does it seem like Seo didn't come today? He said, and the man made a rather angry face upon hearing that name. Captain. That damned Seo. Said very angrily. Issei. So I quit. said, not very surprised by everything he had heard from his Sekureis Hikari and Hibiki. Captain. I was very busy with other jobs, although the truth is I was useless. Thanks to you everything is going very well, keep up the good work boy. He said, encouraging Issei, and he only smiled a little to continue working. Villa Izumo. In the courtyard of the Yuzume house, Kusano, Hikari, Hibiki and Akitsu watched as Miya had another confrontation with Musubi, although each attack scared Kusano, who gave some moans of fear. Yuzume? Hey. She said, seeing Kusano who was twitching when she heard the attacks. If you're scared, why don't you go in and watch television or something? She said, and Hikari and Hibiki looked at her, interested in knowing what she would do next. That Akitsu just looked calmly and Kusano denied, trying to hold back his fear, although when he saw Musubi attack he became very interested. Miya? You're not getting close enough. Said by way of advice. Musubi. Understood. Said, following the instruction. Hikari. Well, at least that hussy is training. Said while watching the confrontation. Hibiki. If she didn't she would be useless and wouldn't be able to take care of or love. While saying that Kusano writhed again in fear being seen by Yuzume. Yuzume? She was the fourth and that was the fifth. Said looking at Kusano and Akitsu. He will undoubtedly have many more. Night entrance of Villa Izumo. Issei. Mindly Seo was the first Ashikabi I met, I hope not everyone is like that crazy man. He thought and his dragon friends agreed, and when he entered the house he didn't see anyone, so he went straight to the living room where he got a surprise. I'm home. He said without seeing who was there and a voice spoke to him. Seo. Hey, what's up, boy? Said in the most relaxed manner and Issei looked at him with a bit of contempt. Miya. Welcome home Issei-san. Said kindly and her Sekurei followed her example. Hikari Hibiki Akitsu. Welcome home darling master. Said the three Sekurei. Musubi. Welcome home Issei-san. Said sitting next to Miya. Seo. Sorry, did I scare you boy? He said, seeing Issei looking at him and he only turned around for a moment and then looked back thinking it was just tiredness, but he saw him so he could only sigh tiredly. Issei. What are you doing here? Said with a little displeasure since he didn't like me very much after I told him that he forced his Sekurei to have their wings. Miya. Seo-sen was my husband's friend. Said and Issei was surprised since that was relatively true. Seo. Well that's how things are. Said very relaxed, noticing that he had eaten quite a bit. Miya. Fufufu appears here every time he can't get food any other way. She said with a smile, but a Hanyu mask appeared next to her, scaring Seo. No matter how useless Takahito-sen's friend is. She said normal, but it seemed very sinister. Seo. You've always been scary, you know. Said a little terrified. Issei. I can't say that I'm happy to see you but well. He said sitting in the place and Issei looked at him. From how I can tell you know that I lived here. He said looking at the man in front of him. Seo. Yes, well that was for your bento. He said, surprising Issei a little. Issei. For the bento. Said a little confused. Seo. You know when you shared some with me the other day, it was obviously from Miya-chan, anyway how's the little one? Said and she was very scared behind the door watching everything that was happening. Issei. And Ku-chan. Said when he didn't notice the little girl in the room to find her behind the door and Seo was calling her. Seo. There it is. He said to call her with his hand. Come a moment, hey. He said but she was very scared by his presence. Hey. Even when I went to save her. He said and she hid while crying a little. I'll give you a reason to cry brat she said, but she got scared since she felt two looks that promised pain. The first one she knew was Miya's, but the another was much more terrifying was Issei's, although he didn't expect Miya to throw a rock at him, which most of the Sekurei believed was what he deserved. Miya. Ara, it slipped out of my hand. She said giving him a lesson. You shouldn't bother a girl. She said holding another rock and Issei was still giving her that look that scared him as he felt helpless when he saw Miya's Hanyu mask. And two dragons behind Issei, one red and one white. Seo. Sorry. He said, very scared when he saw two monsters in front of him while Kusano hid behind them, noticing how they protected her. Asuka. Ito excuse me. Rang from the entrance of the house, drawing everyone's attention, and when they went to the entrance they found the two brown Sekurei. Taiga. Is our idiot master here again? She said very embarrassed by the maid outfit she was wearing. She said and he left immediately. Seo. Hey, thank you for having me. He said, going to where the two girls were who, upon seeing him, beat him up at the entrance. Asuka. You how dare you bother someone like that? Said, giving him a few good blows. Issei. I think that's enough. He said trying to calm down the two girls who were beating the man. By the way, Seo. He said calling the man who was left for his help. Ah thank you at least I was able to find Ku-chan for your intervention. He said a little forced since he didn't like him very much. Seo. Don't worry about that. He said casually to look at Issei from all angles. I couldn't leave you alone after you shared your lunch. Here. He said handing over a card. Card? Text I'll take care of your problems Kaoru Seo. So he handed over the card, which Issei accepted, looking at him strangely, while Asuka and Taiga took the pillows that Seo brought home. Issei. Shall I take care of your problems? I don't think you'll do very well in that, she said, not caring about hurting the man's feelings. Seo. I'll charge you cheap. Said as if it had helped him a lot. Issei. 10. Said throwing something that Seo caught. Seo. What is this? He said, watching me throw him a big ruby. Issei. I don't like owing anyone anything and I guess you helped a little. Said surprising the man. Seo. We are companions after all. Said leaving the house while looking at the stone that looked very valuable. Taiga Asuka. We're sorry. Said very sorry to receive such an object for not having done anything. Issei. He really is a strange guy. Said looking at the card in his hand. Mia. I told you Issei-san, he's a good for nothing. Said and Issei couldn't refute any of that. Issei. Better let's just go home. Said to go back home. House bathroom. Yukari. What are they supposed to do? Asked a little doubtfully. Hibiki. No idea. Said, watching as Musubi and Yuzume were in the bathwater making light moans. Ikitsu. I'm going with teacher. He said finishing washing and leaving the bathroom. Yukari. That's not fair. Said hurriedly. Hibiki. It's true. Said to finish washing and quickly go out to change. Musubi. I can't take it anymore. Said a little dizzy. Yuzume. You were the one who proposed the contest to see who stays in the bathroom the longest. She said trying to hold on. I give up. I'm going to get out of it, she said, standing up and showing her Sekirei crest. Musubi. By the way. Said calling the girl who turned around. Yuzume-san, who is your Ashikabi? He said and she just tried to lie. Yuzume. It's a secret. Said to avoid the topic since she doesn't have one herself. Musubi. Don't you feel lonely when you're not with your Ashikabi? Yuzume. Of course I feel alone, I want to be with him. She said thinking about Issei since for some reason she felt very close to him. But in my case some things prevent me, I can't be with him for certain reasons. She said a little sad when thinking about something. Musubi. Yuzume-san said a little worried. Yuzume. Well just as there are different types of people there are different types of Sekirei I suppose. Said subtly changing the subject. Musubi. True, we are all different, right? Yuzume. True after all there are 108 of us. Mia's fourth night. At night Kusano slept in Mia's room until she got up to go to the bathroom and when she finished and she was washing her hands, she looked in the reflection of the mirror at a shadow that was staring at her. Upon closer inspection, she noticed a figure of a woman with glasses who was looking at her, and Kusano was so scared that she ran to Issei's room that she had with her other Sekirei, although the one who slept with him, to the jealousy of the others, was Ikitsu. Everyone slept calmly and peacefully until some sobs woke them up and Kusano's entrance woke them up. Issei. Ku-chan. Said a little worried for the girl who was hugging him out of fear. Next morning breakfast. Yuzume. A ghost. Said in disbelief as all the residents sat eating their breakfast. Mia. That's why Ku-chan wasn't in her bed, I thought you had taken her Issei-san. She said and he denied. Issei. Isn't that Mia-san? After Ku-chan I arrived at the room I immediately searched the house in case it had been a thief, but there was no sign of any thief or possible theft, so we didn't continue checking. He said while hugging protectively to Kusano who shivered with fear. Uesu. His hair was long and he wore glasses. Said remembering what he saw that night and the description Yuzume thought of. Mia. Glasses and long hair. Yuzume. Oh that's. She didn't finish speaking since Mia interrupted her. Mia. Yuzume-san. Said, scaring the girl. Yuzume. Oh Ito, I don't know. Said very nervously and Issei noticed this. Mia. Surely Ku-chan was half asleep. Said and a Hanyu mask appeared next to her. There is no way there are ghosts in Izumo village. Issei. Not ghosts but someone who likes to scare. Said calmly, not feeling intimidated by that face, which surprised the Sekirei, since even Ikitsu was afraid. Izumo villa entrance. Issei. Was he going to visit a grave? Said looking at Mia who was carrying a bouquet of flowers. Mia. Yes. She said calmly. A day like today my husband died so she said in front of all the residents. Issei. Your husband, huh? Said, already knowing that that was a lie. Mia. I'm sorry anyway, please take care of the rest. Said leaving the house and beginning her tour. Inside the house. Yuzume. I wonder what we'll do for lunch. Said very thoughtfully. Yukari. I can't think of anything and you Hibiki. Hibiki. No idea. Said without having any plan. Musubi. Don't worry, I'll prepare lunch. Said very animated. Kusano. Ku wants to help. Said just as animated. Isumo. Really? Then we'll leave it to you, she said, looking at Musubi who was smiling. Musubi. Yes. Said very animated. Isumo. I guess that's all, come to my room. Said taking the hands of the two who would cook and taking them with her and leaving Issei and the others a little confused, although Akitsu didn't care much just being attached to Issei. Issei. What are they supposed to do? He said, being a little curious, so together with everyone else they went to the girl's room, although Issei felt a presence watching him. Mindfully, it seems like he caught someone's attention. Greg. It seems that if lucky Aibo, let's hope she's not a stalker. Albion is already a stalker, I hope she doesn't try anything bad. Issei. We'll talk later. He said to get out of his mental space. Out of mind, well. He said to knock on the door of his neighbor Isumo, who quickly opened the door and smiled. Isumo. You're ready. Said very excitedly and gave a thumbs up, and they both came out with Musubi wearing a maid outfit and Kusano wearing a penguin costume. Issei. I don't understand what's happening. Said somewhat confused. Yukari. TSK I should have bought a maid outfit. Said a little jealous. Hibiki. Don't worry, we'll get one and take care of our darling. Musubi. Do I look good Issei-san? Asked shyly and Issei smiled. Issei. You look very beautiful. Said, making Musubi happy while Hibiki and Yukari planned to get an outfit for themselves. Isumo. Hey. She said approaching Musubi. If you're going to use that you should call him master. She said and Issei was surprised looking at both girls. Issei. Isumo-san, it's not necessary to go that far. Said calmly but was surprised by the following. Musubi. Master. Said very cutely and Issei wanted to eat her with kisses. Issei. Musubi-chan. Said well he had a big smile that made Musubi happy, who wanted to throw himself into Issei's arms, although Akitsu pulled him to get them out of his world, and he looked at Kusano. How pretty Ku-chan. He said, going down to his side. Height where he caressed her head and she smiled happily. Mindfully, why would they cook dressed like that? He asked himself, very confused. Isumo. I'll take a nap, wake me up when I'm ready. Said entering her room and Musubi and Kuesu were very excited. Issei. Well, girls, I'll take Akitsu to buy some clothes when he gets back, let's eat and clean the house. He said, going with Akitsu holding his arm towards the exit, while Musubi and Kusano were cooking with the help of Yukari and Hibiki, and that was a few hours later, where Issei returned with everything needed for his sekirei who was happy when he returned home. Dining room. Musubi. Tada. Said arriving with several huge plates of food along with Kusano, Hibiki and Yukari. Thanks for waiting. He said, leaving a plate for everyone. Issei. Thank you very much. Said looking at the food. Everyone. Thank you for the food. Said to start eating the enormous mountain of food, and there was nothing left on any of the plates, although Musubi cleaned it completely. Unknown place. The more I see it, the more interesting it seems to me, my heartbeat speeds up so much every time I see it. North Tito Station. At the exit and entrance of the station, Mia came out, who had finished the visit to the tomb. Mia. I think it's getting late. Said looking at the watch on her wrist to begin her return home. Yukari. Ito. Said a black-haired woman who was looking at a paper. While she was looking at that in a part just a little away the one who reversed a forest that Kuesu believed was walking through the streets without having any idea where he was. Yukari. Villa Izumo you have to go a little far from the station it's good mom told me that Issei Nai-chan came back she said looking at the paper with the address of the place without realizing that someone was running in opposite direction to her, colliding and causing both of them to fall. Ouch. She said, rubbing herself until she saw who shot her. Shai-chan. I'm sorry. Said somewhat embarrassed. Yukari. Mind, those fragile looking eyes, those movements, those lips he's worse than I imagined, he's gorgeous. She thought, very surprised. Out of mind, are you okay? Did I hurt you? She asked very worried. Shai-chan. No. This he was trying to speak when another voice was heard. I found you. She said from the top of a building, looking at the two below her. You were just running away. Said a blonde who was wearing a full blouse that reached up to her thighs. If you don't I have with my love he will be angry with me. Shai-chan. No. She shouted and that response made the girl angry. I won't go to the place where they abused Ku. She said, looking at where the blonde was. Gosh, you're so difficult, in that case I'm going to hurt you a little. He said holding a kind of whip, but it was quite thick which he threw towards Shai-chan, but the girl protected him by throwing herself with him to the side where the attack arrived breaking the floor where Shai-chan was before. Yukari. What do you think you're doing? Said very angry. Shai-chan. Ito he said, drawing the attention of the girl who looked at him. Yukari. I honestly don't understand anything, but it's okay. I will protect you, she said very confidently, and that made Shai-chan blush. Get out of my pedestrian way. He said authoritatively. Yukari. I'm not going to move, idiot. Cute boys are the treasure of our country. Shai-chan. Mind this feeling in my chest, he thought while looking at the girl. TSK, don't make me angry. I won't be compassionate. She said very angrily, launching her whip again. Yukari. We have to run. Said, taking Shai-chan's hand to start running. Do you think I'll leave you? He said, jumping off the building to start chasing them both. Yukari. You won't catch us. Said a little away from her. Shai-chan. Mind this person, maybe she. Villa Isumo. In the house, Musubi was cleaning one of the hallways while Hikari and Hibiki cleaned the entrance, and Issei cleaned the room along with the kitchen, although the Sekiryutei did it manually, with Musubi passing a wet cloth across the floor, stopping at the end of this, and when he was about to start again he felt a presence, but when he saw there was no one. Room 202. Issei. Who's there? Said, turning around, not finding anyone, which surprised him a little, but he let it pass, since he wanted to finish quickly until the door opened. Musubi. We finished cleaning. Said, and from behind her came Hikari, Hibiki and Akitsu. Hikari. Everything ready, honey. Issei. Thank you for all your effort. Said with a smile when he saw his Sekiryutei. Hibiki. You're welcome, sweetheart, after all it's our home. Said, and Akitsu nodded. Musubi. It's fun to take care of the house. Said, still dressed in her maid outfit. Issei. And where is Kuu-chan? I asked, a little curious not to see her with them. Musubi. After the meal she has been sleeping with Yuzume-san. Issei. Yuzume-san really sleeps a lot. Said as a drop of sweat fell from his head. Hikari. It's true she's lazy. Said reproachfully. Hibiki. Must have helped us. Musubi. It seems like she can only stay awake for 4 hours a day. Issei. Does that have to do with her being a Sekiryutei? Said jokingly. Akitsu. I doubt it, master. Said, speaking a little. Musubi. But it's possible there are several types of us. Said, and Issei remembered something. Memory. Issei. Well, let's go home. He said while carrying Kuesu with great care, having given his shirt to Musubi, and a sound caught the attention of him and his Sekiryuteis. An MBI helicopter, what is it doing here? He said, watching the helicopter was flying over the area. Musubi. I'm sure they came to take her. Said, looking at Yomi, who was unconscious, and Issei did not understand. Issei. Why would they take her? Said, looking at the girl. Hikari. Well, honey, when a Sekiryutei has lost her mark she can never return to her Ashikabi. Said, surprising Issei, but he waited to talk about it until they were safe at home. End of memory. Issei. Girls. He said, drawing the attention of the four who looked at him. I want you to tell me about what you had mentioned to me in the Botanical Garden. He said, and they did not understand. Can't the Sekiryutei who lose their marks be with their Ashikabi? If any of you lose against another Sekiryutei, will you disappear from my side? He said, very terrified of the answer. Musubi. That's right. Said while holding her chest while her heart beat a little, and the other three sadly lowered their heads, and Issei felt great pain just imagining it. Hibiki. As Sekiryuteis who have come to Earth, that is our destiny. Said with great regret. Issei. I see the guy on television said it, this is a game, the Sekiryutei project, it's true. He said quite sadly as he lowered his head. Like in a game over is the end, everything, he said, falling as he remembered when he was in his world when everyone insulted him and despised all the love they had for each other. They only threw it away when they thought they believed something that wasn't true, but they didn't hesitate to say all those words. Musubi, Hikari, Hibiki, Akitsu. Knew. They all shouted, drawing Issei's attention to jump and hug him. Musubi. It's not a game. Hikari, Hibiki. What we feel for you is not a game. They both said, emphasizing that. Akitsu. What we truly feel. Musubi. Our feelings, the feelings we have towards you are not a game. Hikari, Hibiki. We want to stay by your side. They said, clinging to him more. Issei. I want to stay with you too. He said as he hugged them all, pressing them closer to him. I don't want to get away from any of you. Musubi, Hikari, Hibiki, Akitsu. Then we won't lose to be by your side. They said very confidently. Musubi. Plus the Sekiryuteis have a prize, the Sekiryuteis who win will be able to join the person they love for eternity, so there is no need to worry, we won't lose. Issei. I want that. Said, and when he was going to continue speaking a voice was heard. Mia. I'm back. Said, and everyone went to welcome her. Unknown place. She said, annoyed since she thought Issei would give each of them a kiss but was stopped by the arrival of Mia. They were so close to sealing their promise with a sweet and warm kiss. What is this? My Sekirei symbol burned so brightly, the secrets behind the body and heart of a Sekirei. I have no doubt he is my destiny Ashikabi, it is time to respond to my destiny using my own body. Izumo Villa entrance. Mia. Musubi-san, could you run a message for me? I asked, looking at the girl. Musubi. Of course homely. Said very cheerfully, and she and the others did not know that they were being watched. Unknown place. In that case, number 88 Musubi, number 11 Hikari, number 12 Hibiki and number 07 Akitsu, all of you are my enemies. He said, and all their images on the screens mark them as enemies. Get ready. He said, and a satellite owned by MBI started to move. City Street. Musubi. Ito, soy sauce and miso, also carrots, radishes and cabbage, he said, going over the shopping list until he felt something strange, so he moved quickly from where he was, since it seems that the satellite hit a shot towards her position, although it did not stop there, since Musubi had to continue dodging the enormous amount of shots that came to her position, while she did not understand. Villa Izumo. In the village, Issei was playing with Kusano, although she was starting to get bored, so Hikari, Hibiki and Akitsu started playing with her until someone knocked on the door. Issei. Yes. Said, giving a pass to whoever was knocking, and opening it showed Mia. Mia. Issei-san, the bathroom is ready. Said with a cute smile. Issei. Thank you very much Mia-san, well girls, I'll be back in a bit. Said to grab some things and head to the bathroom. Mia. Ku-chan, you and I will go later. Kusano. Yes. Said very animated. Issei. Mindly, now that I think about it, Musubi-chan is taking a little while with the shopping. Greg. Don't worry, your little girlfriend is strong, she'll be fine. He said to calm Issei. Albion. If you don't worry and just enjoy the swim. Unknown place. As expected from a military satellite made by MBI, he said, seeing the satellite and the image of Musubi fleeing from the satellite attack on his screen. I can make her at least be delayed a little, the others won't be a problem, he said, taking off his glasses, the good things are coming from now on. Bathroom. Issei. Ah, this type of bath is the best. Greg. If you say it Ibo, I will believe you. Albion. It must be, imagine bathing in a hot place where they won't attack you because they are afraid of you. He said, remembering the past where everyone was afraid of them. Issei. That would be interesting to see. Said, responding to his friends to get up from the tub and begin to clean his head and chest, seeing his scars from their fights until he heard the door open. Hikari, Hibiki, is that you? If you don't say anything, then you're Akitsu, remember beautiful, I told you that it wasn't necessary for you to always be with me. He said, but whoever came in didn't respond, and Issei continued rinsing until he felt that person cling to his back. Do you want to wash my back, right, okay? He said, just letting it be who he thought was his Sekirei, but he turned to look at her, surprised by not recognizing the person holding his arm. Who are you? He asked, very confused when he saw an orange-haired girl who was staring at him, although he noticed that she was also looking. His muscles and scars. Unknown room. Yukari. Mindfully, I took this cute boy with me and I ran, I got on the train and I kept running. I thought while breathing heavily from all the exercise I do. What should I do? I even brought him into my room, she thought to look at the boy. Girl. Too androgynous. Bathroom. Issei. Ito, who are you? Said, looking at the girl who had not said anything in all that time, although Issei felt a pull at her side just like her. Yufufufu, she laughed as she approached him, enjoying the feeling of being called that she compared to his desire and love calling her, so she took off her towel that was covering her, and Issei looked away. Street. Musubi. But what is happening? He asked himself as he ran from the satellite shots. Chapter 4. The legal wife appears. City streets. Musubi continued to dodge the shots of the satellite that fires some bursts, until it started firing almost as if it were a submachine gun, and she dodged shot after shot. Musubi. What is this? Said as he ran from the attack. Izumo Villa bathroom. Issei. Ito, who are you? He asked, very curious, but he had an idea when he felt attracted to her. Sekirei number 02, identified as Matsu, she said while swaying her breasts trying to get Issei's attention. Issei. I see a lot of pleasure, Matsu. Said with a smile. Izumo Villa entrance. Musubi. I'm back. Said, announcing her arrival, being received by Mia. Mia. Welcome home. She didn't finish speaking since she saw how Musubi's clothes were quite torn or destroyed. Ara, these are in shreds. Musubi. While I was shopping, something started to fall from the sky and, she said being very confused while tilting her head. Mia. Are you hurt? Said very worried about the girl. Musubi. I'm fine, I also brought. She said, but when she checked the bag with the purchases she noticed something. I was in such a hurry that I forgot to buy the radishes and carrots. She said very nervous for having forgotten. I'll be back right away. She said, turning around, but was stopped by Miya, who held her shoulder. Miya. Musubi-san, there is no modesty in going out like that, he said, and she stopped dead. Forget about shopping, instead, take a bath and change, okay? Bathroom? Matsu. Issei Hyoudou, 19 years old, said, surprising Issei. Your parents died since you were young, and you were cared for by a mother, daughter and son family, he said, but that surprised Issei since he didn't see that on his phone. You disappeared quite a few years ago. Years, and your whereabouts had been a mystery until now, and your grades in the schools you attended were excellent, being the best in the class, and you soon planned to enter university. Issei. How do you know all that? Said seriously, since there was information that he had not seen. Matsu. To put it simply, you are very, very interesting, and you are my Ashikabi, she said, touching Issei's chest to feel his well-formed muscles. Ah, please cool my hot body with your DNA. Issei. I don't think you'll get cold that way, said jokingly until a voice was heard. Musubi. Is there anyone in the bathroom? He said, and immediately opened the door. Issei-san. He said, very happy when he saw the boy in the bathroom. Issei. Hello, Musubi-chan, said calmly, suppressing his dragon instincts. Matsu. Damn, said very angrily with a vein marked on her head, and Issei looked at her, not understanding what was happening. Musubi. Issei-san, I will wash your back, said very happy and excited. Issei. Oh well, Musubi, said, but didn't finish when he saw Matsu, who was muttering some words. Musubi. Who are you? She said, noticing Matsu's presence. Matsu. So you have appeared, you returned 300 seconds earlier than I expected, she said as she put on her circular glasses and smiled sinisterly. Splendid, she said, but Musubi was confused. However, that was also in my calculations, she said, taking out a species of weapon. Issei. Hey, where did you get that from? He said, very worried, getting up, and the division glove appeared in case she thought about attacking, and she did, but it wasn't made of bullets, but rather it was made of net in which he caught Musubi. Hey, Matsu, that wasn't good, he said, to go where Musubi was tied with the net. Matsu. A synthetic fiber net manufactured by MBI is impossible to break. I don't finish, since Issei broke it as if it were nothing. Wait, it had taken me a lot to get this, just ignore it and let's unite in our love, she said, approaching Issei with a certain degree of perversion. Don't be scared, let's experience the pleasure by bringing our bodies together, she said, and the edge of a katana appeared next to her, scaring her. Miya. I was wondering what was happening since there was so much noise, but inappropriate behavior between both sexes is prohibited in the bathroom of Villa Izumo, Matsu-san said, another Hanyu mask appearing, different from the previous ones. Moments later. Matsu. Nice to meet you, let me introduce myself again, my name is Matsu, said, a little embarrassed, and all of Issei's Sekirei looked at her, although Kusano was afraid. Miya. She is another of my tenants, she lives in room 201. Issei. Room 201? Asked, a little confused because he had never seen that room, but he soon came to know it as a secret wall. Matsu. Well, that's how things are. Issei. I see, it's quite interesting, so the ghost that Kuu-chan saw was you, he said, looking at the little girl who nodded. Matsu. If that was me, I'm living hidden here, said with a cute face. Issei. Why are you hiding? I asked, a little curious. Matsu. Well, when I left MBI, some things happened, and to be honest, they are looking for me. Issei. Are they looking for you? Said, a little worried about her. Miya. I already said it before, my husband was someone who would not abandon someone, she said, approaching the door of the room. I also built this for fun, to be honest, he worked for MBI, and thanks to that he met Matsu-san. Issei. I must say it sounds like he was a good person and with good taste, said, since it sounded like fun to build a secret room. Miya. Sorry for not telling you before. Issei. Don't worry, Miya-san. Miya. But if she's going to be causing problems, then I have a few ideas, she said, and even next to her they appeared several times, throw her out on the street. Matsu. I'm sorry. Forgive me. Miya-tan, please, she said, almost on her knees. Miya. Are you serious? Said seriously. Matsu. Yes, I'm really sorry, she said, bowing to the woman in front of her. I'm sorry too, for having caused problems for all of you. Yukari. You haven't done anything to us, said, trying to calm the girl. Hibiki. Don't apologize to us. Matsu. So, he said, entering his room, slowly closing the door. Kusano. Ghost. Said, quite scared. City night. DSK, I couldn't find them, I searched everywhere, but to think that a simple pedestrian would take it, she said, a little tired. I wonder what I'll say to my master, she thought while holding her head. Hamura. A Sekiryutei and an Ashikabi guided correctly by destiny will be attracted to each other without knowing it, said, drawing the blonde's attention. You? He said seriously, looking at Hamura. Hamura. That's why there is merit in those unions, ignoring that and giving the Sekiryutei their wings, as if they were part of a collection. I can't even say it's in bad taste. Who gave you permission to interfere? She screamed very angrily. Besides, I know you're a Sekiryutei who hasn't been given wings yet, she said, holding her whip to quickly tie Hamura with. He was tightening his grip more and more. Although number 107 escaped, perhaps I should take you instead. My master will give you your wings, and you will become a Sekiryutei who bends to his will, she said very confidently. Hamura. Yeah, you won't be able to win against me, said, setting fire to her entire body and consequently to the whip of the blonde Sekiryutei, who burned her hand a little before releasing her whip. Burning? She said, a little hurt, and Hamura threw a fireball that the blonde dodged. I let you win this time, she said very angrily to start jumping across the roof of the building. Hamura. Wait. Didn't finish as he was weakened by his own fire attack. Yukari's room. Yukari. Mindfully, even if I end up bringing him to my room, what should I do? She thought to look at him and he smiled at her, making her a little nervous. But he's too cute, his face is small. His thin waist of him. And he wears shorts. Haha. She thought a little pervertedly until Shai-chan spoke. Shai-chan. Ito. Said, drawing Yukari's attention. Yukari. Yes. Said a little nervously. Shai-chan. I am your Sekiryutei, he said, and Yukari did not understand. Please accept the contract, he said, approaching Yukari to stretch his lips a little, hoping that she would accept. City streets. After managing to get up from the damage, Hamura reached an alley while enduring the pain and trying to control her power, but it was useless as she ended up collapsing to the ground. Hamura. I just used a little of my power, and this is what happens. What an annoying body, she said while breathing a little difficult due to the pain. There's no other choice, I'll ask Takami for help, she said, taking out her cell phone. But it began to burn and melt, leaving it useless. I wonder if I will turn into ashes by tomorrow, he said weakly as the place where he was began to melt. Self-destruction, better not, he said, but a few drops of water fell on her head, but from one moment to the next a huge waterfall fell on her, cooling her body. How pathetic. Hamura. Hamura. Tsukiumi. Said, looking at the Sekiryutei who saved her. Tsukiumi. You must lose to me, he said while standing in front of Hamura. I will never forgive you if you die that way, he said, and Hamura smiled. Hamura. You're great, Tsukiumi, but you know from where I am I can see your panties, he said, and she covered herself a little. Tsukiumi. Where do you think you're looking? Said very angrily. Hamura. A Sekiryutei can let out their power because they have gained their wings, said, standing up. Why don't you earn yours? He asked, and she was surprised. Tsukiumi. Instead of worrying about others, shouldn't you first worry about yourself? Said, trying to avoid the topic. Hamura. Yes, I couldn't become one, since the times of legends those associated with fire have been hated by God, she said while looking at her hand that was emitting a little smoke. You aim to be the strongest, don't you? Then hurry up and find your Ashikabi. Tsukiumi. Don't tell me such stupid things. An Ashikabi is nothing more than a monkey that I knew I couldn't finish because of a strange feeling. Hamura. Knew? Asked curiously. Tsukiumi. I will never allow myself to join something like that, she said, turning around, and Hamura looked at her with sadness and concern. I will never allow it. But recently, something strange has happened to me. I've had this feeling in my chest, and something tells me to search, she said, surprising Hamura, who was incredulous. Hamura. That's. Said, understanding what was happening. Tsukiumi. I know, it's the reaction to an Ashikabi, but he's very strong, so that will make it easier for me to find him and kill him with my own hands, said, a little angry. Room 202. All the Sekiryutei were asleep. The closest to Issei Hyoudou were Musubi and Akitsu, although Hikari and Hibiki were sleeping near him, as Kusano was sleeping in Miya's room, although Issei was still not sleeping, thinking about what was to come. Issei. Mindly, it seems like the days are getting a little complicated, he thought while looking at the ceiling. Greg. If possible, Ibo, by the way, one of your bonds feels very strong. You could say that they are calling each other, and with great force, more than any of your current females. Albion. Yes, it's pretty impressive, so good luck, Issei. Said to intrigue the boy, who only heard more problems. Issei. Whisper, Matsu, I know you're at the door, come in now, he said, surprising the girl, who entered carefully and silently. Matsu. Hello, Issei-tan, we forgot to do something a while ago, she said, taking off her glasses, and Issei gently held the girl's cheek, caressing it gently and affectionately, since something asked her to do it, and when she felt the warmth of his hand, she just smiled and held the boy's cheek, being that both of them were attracted to a sweet kiss, thus obtaining beautiful wings of brilliant white, almost golden color, and when they disappeared they continued the kiss until a few minutes later they separated. Let me experiment properly with you for the next one, is that okay? Now and forever, he said, putting her lens back on while Issei intertwined her fingers with his, while he looked at her lovingly until. Mia. Sneaking into other people's rooms is also prohibited in Villa Izumo, said, opening the door, looking a little angry and jealous, but she didn't show it. Matsu. Ah. Screamed in fear, and Issei was surprised at how fast he came. Mia. As punishment, Matsu-san will not have breakfast. Matsu. Ah, Mia-tan, forgive me. Said, not wanting the punishment. Mia. Issei-san, you too. Issei. Better just leave me without breakfast, don't be like that with my Matsu. He said, trying to defend Matsu, and she was glad that her Ashikabi defended her. MBI building night. The Kami. Number 107 who just arrived did a very good job cleaning the Botanical Garden. Manaka. The event I prepared also ended earlier than I expected. I was expecting more, you know, a fight. The Kami. More than 80% of the Sekirei have obtained their wings. Said, and Manaka smiled a little satisfied. Manaka. It's almost time. Said, being ready to start his plan. The Kami. Manaka, what are you planning to turn Tito into? She said, very worried about that man's madness. Manaka. How will the pages open in the next chapter of the legend? Let's take a look. Ha 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 ha. He said, very excitedly, waiting for a great show. Next morning, room 202. Right on Issei's futon were all his Sekireis, who were sleeping peacefully attached to the one who shared their heat, but it didn't bother him that they were on top of him. He found it nostalgic. Issei. Mindly, I think we need a futon for all of us to enter. Matsu. Good morning, Anat. Ah. Said while she was on top of him, and he looked at her with great love. Issei. Good morning, beautiful. Said very lovingly, and she smiled happily to approach the girl's face and give her a sweet but warm kiss. Your good morning kiss. He said, and she smiled happily. Yukari. Sweetheart. Said to one side of him, waiting for his, which didn't take long. Hibiki. I want one too. Said, and Akitsu nodded in agreement, and so it was their turn until Musubi woke up. Musubi. Good morning, Issei-san. Issei. Good morning, Musubi-chan. Said, looking at his first Sekirei, who caressed her head, and she enjoyed it. Dining room. Matsu. I guess I won't have to sneak breakfast anymore. She said while eating her breakfast that thanks to Issei, Mia forgives her. Breakfast with others is really the best. She said, and Issei smiled happily. Issei. It's pretty good, huh? Where is Yuzume-san? He said, seeing his empty place and looking for his presence. Matsu. She's probably still asleep in her room. Said, and if it was true. She's been arriving late lately. She said, and that worried Issei. Issei. Mindfully, I hope he's not getting into any trouble. That's what he thought until he heard something. Mia. Here, say ah. Mia said to Kagari. Kagari. It's okay, I can do it alone. Said, turning Issei around, seeming a little strange to him. Mia. But you can't even hold your chopsticks, right? Come on, say ah, she said, holding out the food that Kagari didn't want to accept. Kagari. Mia, you know I don't like broccoli. Said, raising her hands and moving a little, showing a bandage, and Issei was quick. Issei. Kagari-san, what happened to you? Said, a little worried. Kagari. Well, more like my body, but I burned a little. Issei. I see, well, I would like this to stay between us. Said, and everyone did not understand, but he took Kagari's hands and began to use a little healing magic, enough to at least alleviate the pain. Kagari. How? I asked, feeling her body a little better. Issei. I'm sorry, but it's a secret. Said, to return to his place where he continued eating, and the others did not understand what was happening, but Kagari was able to move a little more, being noticed by Mia. Later, Musubi continued with her arduous training with Mia, who gladly trained her, although this time Musubi was the one receiving the attacks, and Mia attacked, and being at a good distance, she launched a downward attack. Musubi placed her hands ready to catch it, but it was useless, since the attack reached his head, hitting it gently, although it left a bump. Musubi. Ouch. Said, a little sore from the blow. Mia. Phew, for your reflexes are still a little slow. She said, but Musubi was very excited. Musubi. That was fun. Please let's do it again. Mia. It's okay. Said calmly while in room 202 you can see Kusano sleeping and Issei meditating. He remembered a training that Sarayarg had taught him, but in the middle of the meditation something strange happened. Unknown place. Issei. Who are you? he said, seeing a girl with long golden hair who was looking at the horizon. Where are we? Tsukiumi. I finally found you. He said without even turning around. I'll kill you. He said to turn around and point his finger, bringing Issei out of his meditation. Room 202. Issei. Huh? What was that? She said to look at her hands in confusion, although she noticed that Kusano was waking up. Ah, sorry Ku-chan, did I wake you up? Mind, Drag, Albion, did you see what I saw? Drag. If we saw it Ibo, it seems that the connection with her is the one that is strongest. Albion. Although it seems like he wants to kill you, that's very strange, he doesn't even know you. Issei. That's bad, but at least I'll try to talk to her. I think Matsu can help me. Plus, I have to talk to everyone and I want to know more about the Sekiryuutei project. Room 201. Matsu. The Sekiryuutei project, that is, the arrival of the 108 Sekiryuutei to Tito, is a game where we must fight alongside our Ashikabi until only one remains, the master of the game Hiroto Manaka, who is the monster that controls the global corporation MBI. He said while typing some keys. As long as a Sekiryuutei and his Ashikabi are inside the MBI nest, this same Shinto Tito, they will not be able to escape the Sekiryuutei project system. He explained while Issei and all his Sekiryuuteis Yukari, Hibiki, Akitsu and Kusano listened attentively, until which showed the image of when they were all winged by Issei. Until now it was more important to make the Sekiryuutei receive their wings and fight, and at present, almost all the Sekiryuutei have received their wings, in other words. The serious part is yet to come. He said adjusting his glasses. Issei. What do you mean? I asked, very curious. Matsu. In short, the battle between the Sekiryuutei until only one remains. Said looking at Issei who didn't know what to say. And then MBI will give the final Ashikabi a great reward. She said very excitedly. Issei. Matsu. Said, drawing the girl's attention. What should I do? I don't want you to get hurt in battle, but some Sekiryuutei really love their Ashikabi, but he refused to separate any of you, he said, and Matsu took Issei's hands, and the others hugged him. Matsu. It's okay after all, Matsu, I'm here. She said and Issei smiled to give her a kiss as thanks. After all I love you and you gave me warm wings, so trust us just like we trust you. She said and he smiled happy. Issei. Oh that's true. Said and explained what he had felt. Matsu. So did that woman tell you she would kill you? She said and the other girls were angry because she threatened her Ashikabi. What is she like? Issei. His hair was long, almost golden in color, and he was wearing a black suit with a white skirt, his gaze reflected anger or hatred. Said and she began the search with that description. Matsu. I stand you met Kusano in a dream right? Issei. Yes, although more than a dream it is because of the connection I have with her as well as the one I have with you. Said surprising everyone since they didn't know that, but they felt happy for some reason. Matsu. Then that Sekiryuutei is also linked to you, and that's why she reacts like your Sekiryuutei, and that explains that dream, that's why you gave 6 Sekiryuutei their wings. Said turning to look at Issei while she continued typing. Issei. I don't quite understand that. Said a little confused. Matsu. An Ashikabi gains power according to the number of Sekiryuutei he has given his wings to, so there is a good chance that a strong Sekiryuutei is reacting to you. Issei. Wait now I'm stronger. Said a little surprised by that since he doesn't feel any change, but Matsu found the similarity, surprising who it was. Matsu. Ice-Tan, was she the one you met during your connection? Asked while her image, name, and number appeared on the screen. Issei. If it is her. Said when he saw the girl, but some of them were a little nervous when they recognized who it was. Matsu. This is bad. Said quite scared. Yukari. How bad this is terrible. Said very nervous. Hibiki. It can't be. Said very surprised. Matsu. Putting it simply, that girl as bad is the worst possibility. Said scaring Kusano who grabbed Issei's arm who did not understand the reason. Number 09 Tsukiumi, she has the power of water and is famous for completely hating the Ashikabis, and she reacted to you I'm sure that really hurt her pride. Issei. I understand well I will have to talk to her if she wants to be with me I will accept her, but if not I will just leave her alone. He said surprising everyone. Matsu. But to win the game you need more Sekiryuutei, but to think that it is Sekiryuutei number 09. Said very thoughtfully. Musubi. It's okay. Said, peeking through the curtain that leads to the entrance of the room. Issei. Musubi-chan. Said upon seeing her until he noticed something strange. Musubi. Issei-sen will be fine, he is very strong. Said very happily. Issei. What happened to you by the way? Said seeing 3 bumps on his head. Musubi. Haha, the landlady is strong. Said going with her companions and Issei. Issei. As I had said, I will go look for her. If she wants to be by my side, I will accept her, but if not, I will just walk away. I will not force her to do something she doesn't want. I hope you understand," he said, and they smiled since they knew how kind he was. Matsu? "Okay, you're so strong that Mia has to defend herself from you, so I won't doubt my Anata. By the way, where do you keep that sword?" he asked, and most of them didn't know about that. Issei. "Here," said, suddenly appearing, surprising all of his Sekirei. Kusano. "Amazing, Issei Oni-chan." Issei. "Well, since you're all gathered, I'll introduce you to some friends," said, and they were confused until the boosted gear appeared in his hand and the dividing gear appeared on his back. Greg. "It was time to introduce ourselves. Albion. But at least he did it sooner than we expected," both said, surprising the girls. Musubi. "Incredible, Issei-san, that's the glove you were wearing in the fight when we went for Ku-chan." Yukari. "It's true, but you had another white one," said, remembering that moment. Hibiki. "What happened to that glove, honey?" asked, more curious about that than because the glove and the wings could talk. Issei. "That's because I can also show her up, but it's unnecessary at the moment. How about I tell you about my friends?" said like that, and they all asked some things, getting a big surprise that their Ashikabi is a dragon possessing the souls of 2 dragons, which lends them their power, thinking that the game was more than one. Matsu. "Fufufu, I already want to try that great resistance ice tan Fufufu." He laughed pervertedly, although Hikari and Hibiki also wanted to try it, and Akitsu wanted a night alone with him, but he wouldn't say it. "Well then, now I'll look for her using the Musubi Tan spy satellites. Hikari Tan, Hibiki Tan will search some areas where the satellites cannot." Musubi. Hikari. Hibiki. "Yes. Understood." Matsu. "And Ice Tan will act as bait if their bond is so strong. She will look for him, no problem, right Anata?" Issei. "Yes, beautiful," said with a smile, and she smiled happily. Matsu. "If number 09 is as they say, he will run out to kill you, but he will get a Yufufufu surprise," he said while adjusting his glasses and smiling maliciously. "And in case of emergency, Kusano Tan and Akitsu Tan will protect you," he said, and they smiled a little. More than others. Kusano. "Yes, yes," said while nodding. Akitsu. "I will protect the master," he said with great determination in his voice. Issei. "I'll be counting on you," said with a smile, stroking the heads of both of them, who enjoyed the caress, although Hikari, Hibiki and Matsu were a little jealous. Matsu. "With everything ready, start the operation, whether or not you join the Sekirei search team, full of love. Let's go," she said, making a pose, and everyone was ready. City streets. Issei walked calmly with Kusano and Akitsu, although Kusano was carrying a small plant in a pot. Issei. Mindly, "Well, let's see what happens," he thought as he walked alongside the 2 girls. Greg. "Don't worry, Ibo trusts you, I'm sure he'll agree to stay with you." Albion. "If Issei, you conquered almost all the girls you met, trust in your power." Issei. "Well, at least they really love me," said, thinking of his Sekirei as the 3 entered an alley where they heard a sound. Beidou. Miu. Screamed as he fell from the roof of a building, and Issei hoped to catch him, but he was caught with Kusano's plant. Issei. "Good job, Ku-chan," said, and she smiled. Seo. "You did well," said from above where the cat fell. Issei. "Seo," said, looking at him from below. Tall building. At the top of the eyes, a certain Sekirei looked very attentively, guided by a sensation. Tsukiumi. "This feeling, it gets stronger and stronger with each passing day. How is it so warm? Damn. What a nasty Ashikabi. I will find you and kill you with my own hands," she said with a blush, and a purple aura appeared, hinting at her macabre desire. Taiga. "What do you feel?" I asked, turning her around. Asuka. "You are a Sekirei who has not yet gained her wings," said while holding her sword. Tsukiumi. "I've heard about you, the 2 brunettes who go around looking only for those who don't have their wings," he said, and they had a tired expression. "Cowards. Do you want to win that much?" she said, looking at the 2 who knew that was wrong. Taiga. "We know he's cowardly, but it's an order," said, a little discouraged. Asuka. "Actually, we don't have much interest in winning, we just fight a little with those without wings," said seriously while looking at Tsukiumi. Tsukiumi. "Very good, I was upset anyway. Hurry up and try to take me," she said seriously and defiantly, but maintaining a tough attitude. Taiga. "You're too arrogant," she said. She was upset, launching herself at her with her fists ready. Steel fist, she said while Tsukiumi created a wall of water that blocked the attack. Tsukiumi. "Interesting, is that all you have?" said while holding up a large mass of water. Taiga. "Don't believe that," said, very angry at his attitude. Asuka. "Just concentrate," said so that she wouldn't get overconfident. Tsukiumi. "Mizu Iwai," said, throwing 2 pillars of water that threw both girls. Asuka. Taiga, isn't that number 09 Tsukiumi? Said as they fell. Taiga. Is it a figure? She said very surprised. Street. Issei. Were you looking for a lost cat? What happened to the rupee I gave you? He said, very confused since he thought they would give him a lot for it. Sayo. That's why they gave us a lot for him, but I had to pay some debts, and if the cat ran away I was going to look for a similar one, and deceiving the owner by being honest helped me a lot. He said as if nothing had happened. Issei. I better not say more. Said, and Akitsu clung to his arm, being a little tired and bored until Sayo stopped. Sayo. Huh? You have more sekirei, don't you? She said, surprising Issei a little, and Kusano was playing with the cat. Issei. How do you know that? Said a little confused and curious. Sayo. Because I'm sorry, isn't Matsu-tan from Villa Izumo? Said as if he deduced everything. Issei. If that's correct from how I assumed you know her. Said, noting that despite being useless, he is useless with some intelligence. Sayo. That's right, I built that secret room. Takahito was the one who asked me to do it. Issei. I see. Said, remembering that he had said that it was a very good idea and in good taste to make a secret room, thinking about asking him for help with something like that. Asuka. Sayo. Shouted, drawing the group's attention as they landed on the spot. Sayo. I found our food pass. He said, showing the cat to the two newcomers. Now we won't have to worry for like 3 days. He said, very happy about that fact. Taiga. That matters, we are being attacked by. He didn't finish speaking as a voice caught his attention. Tsukiumi. Hey you. He said, making Issei look at the sky. You're in my way. Get out of there. He said, and Issei took Akitsu in his arms and jumped away from the girl's landing. She fell to the floor. Issei. Hey, are you okay? Said, quite worried. Tsukiumi. Mind, what is this fear that runs through my body? He mentally asked himself while breathing hard. It is not a heat that fills me, loaded with something I don't know what it is. Issei. Are you feeling okay? Do you need help? He asked when he still saw her on the floor, but she looked at him with annoyance. Tsukiumi. Damn you. You are, she said as a vortex of water formed around her, and Issei was on guard. I will kill you before you desecrate my body. Issei. Yes, exactly the same as in the connection. Said when he saw her ready to fight and began by throwing a blast of water at her that Issei calmly dodged, and his boosted gear and the division glove appeared only in case of an emergency. Please stop. Let me talk for a moment. She said, trying to stop the girl. Tsukiumi. No need to talk. Said, and Akitsu and Kusano stood in his way before he launched his attack. Issei. Ku-chan, Akitsu. Said, watching how both girls protected him. Kusano. No, don't bother him anymore. Said with some tears. Akitsu. The teacher doesn't want to hurt you. Said, and Kusano got out of control, causing the little plant he was carrying to grow out of control and destroying some parts of the nearby buildings. Issei. Wait, Ku-chan, calm down. He said, hugging the little girl who, upon feeling the hug, stopped. I must try to convince her to let her family be with us, so Ku-chan, Akitsu, leave it to me. He said, separating from the hug and looking where the sekirei was there, and then smiled at them both. Tsukiumi. What's wrong with this little girl? She said until she thought about it a little. Wait, don't tell me. You put out your poisonous claws and they took her. Issei. Hey, they're not poisonous claws. They're dragon claws. She said, looking at her gloves, but Kusano and Akitsu were angry at what she called him. Tsukiumi. How unpleasant. She said while preparing her attack. What a disgusting man. She said, ready, but Issei was also ready to either dodge or eliminate the attack. Mizu Iwai. She said, throwing her attack that seemed to hit Issei. Ha, I haven't even used 1% of my power, he said, thinking that he had hit him, but the attack never touched Issei. What is a monkey thinking of talking about? Issei. You know, I haven't responded to any attacks because I really want to talk. I want you to be my sekirei. He said seriously, looking at where the girl is. Tsukiumi. What? Said, very surprised, and everything was seen by Sayo. Amy, your sekirei. She said as she clenched her fists. Was that what you said? Issei. If that was what I said, I want you to be my sekirei. I declared with strength and determination. Tsukiumi. Do you have so little shame in public? Issei. I don't gain anything if I doubt it, I will never doubt it. Said, and she was surprised. Tsukiumi. I was thinking that I wasn't going to be serious enough to kill you, he said while trembling slightly. But I think I will eliminate you completely. He said, charging a huge attack. Taiga. This is very bad, it's getting serious. She said, very worried, looking at the big water attack, and Issei just waited, while Akitsu and Kusano looked a little worried, and Issei waited for the attack, although Tsukiumi hesitated, so when he launched it, he went to another direction without hurting Issei. Kusano, Ani-chan, said, very worried to go to him. Akitsu, teacher, said equally worried, hugging Issei. Tsukiumi, I was so upset that I didn't aim well, she said, quite tired from releasing so much power. The next one will kill you, she said, getting up with difficulty. Issei, I won't move until you listen to me, said, standing firm, making Tsukiumi's heart beat with great force. Tsukiumi, mind, why does my chest feel this way? She thought, ready to launch another attack, but Taiga spoke. Taiga, stop right there, said, drawing Tsukiumi's attention. Asuka, your opponents are us, said while holding her sword. Tsukiumi, they're still here even after being beaten, said a little surprised. Asuka, there is a big difference between someone who has wings and someone who doesn't, so we'll show you, Seo, said, looking at the man who had the cat locked in his shirt. Tsukiumi, mind, that guy is that guy also an Ashikabi? While she was thinking, he approached the two girls who remained serious. Seo, gosh, I guess I should do it, he said while holding the two girls. Hey, cover his eyes, she said, and Akitsu covered Kusano's little eyes. The impact might be a little big. Taiga, just shut up and do it already, said very angrily while he held her waist. Tsukiumi, what are you trying to? Didn't finish as he saw how Seo approached Asuka's face, giving her a kiss, making his Sekirei mark appear, as well as his orange-brown wings, and for a few moments. Then approached Taiga's lips, giving her a kiss as well, making her brown wings appear. Tsukiumi, what? What are you doing, she said, very blushing when she saw how they kissed both of them. Asuka, that's not the way the Sekireis fight, said simply. Taiga, fist that breaks the mountain and splits the steel, may my oath destroy that which crosses the path of my Ashikabi. Asuka, sword of light, may my oath cut the enemies of my Ashikabi infinite times. That was the oath of both girls, who surrounded themselves with an energy as Asuka transferred it to her sword and Taiga concentrated it in her fist. Tsukiumi, it is said that only those with wings can use, he said, watching how both were preparing their attacks. Issei, they are. I remember Musubi. They are words that you invoke when you are about to use a large amount of power. All the Sekirei have their own prayers. They are their prayers, he said when he saw the two girls. Taiga, mountain-breaking fist, said, launching a fist of energy. Asuka, transcendental slash, said, launching a huge slash of power, and both attacks were quickly approaching Tsukiumi, who was a few centimeters away from receiving the attack. Issei, new Tsukiumi, said, running to where she was. Room 201. Matsu, it is a reaction of a high level of energy, said upon receiving a signal of a powerful attack. No, Ice-tan and the others are in trouble. Hello, Musubi-tan, Hikari-tan, Hibiki-tan, she said through a communicator that dialed each of the girls' phones, although Hikari and Hibiki were together. Some part of the city. Hikari, hey airhead, said, calling Musubi, who was looking towards where smoke was coming out. Hibiki, don't ignore us, said, trying to get Musubi's attention until each of their phones rang. Musubi, Hikari, Hibiki. Matsu-san, oh, Matsu, said when they saw who was calling. Matsu, everyone quickly go to where the dust cloud will send you the location for whatever reason, go to Ice-tan, said, and the three looked at each other and then nodded in agreement and quickly headed to the place. Location of the fight. Tsukiumi, not feeling pain, opened her eyes seeing Issei with cuts and quite damaged clothing, implying that he intervened in the attack before she received it. Taiga, there is no Issei-san, said, very worried. Asuka, because you crossed your path, said, a little confused and worried. Tsukiumi, UI, said, and then saw the enormous destruction caused by both attacks. Taiga, look what you did, you ended up involving him just by not listening to him, said, a little angry with her, but she felt bad for hurting the person who gave them something as valuable and expensive as that ruby was. Well, Tsukiumi felt bad since she noticed a cut on his back filled with blood as he tried to get up with some difficulty. Issei, oh thank goodness you're fine, said while looking lovingly at Tsukiumi. Tsukiumi, mind he, this man used his own body to protect me, said, and great pain hit his heart when he saw the wound he had from having protected her. Asuka, it's your turn to suffer for making him hurt for you, said, ready to attack again, but Tsukiumi quickly got up to protect Issei, who was slowly healing the wound with the help of Drake and Albion. Tsukiumi, I won't let them, he said, launching a water attack that they dodged, which hit Seo, who was behind, knocking him down and making the cat escape, making him quite angry. Taiga, ah, the cat escaped, said without giving it much importance. Seo, hey, wait a second, said, sliding down one of the building's pipes, and with a jump he arrived at Tsukiumi. Issei, Seo, stay away from her, said, still on the ground recovering from the attack. Tsukiumi. Get away. She said, trying to get away from him, but she was subdued by him, cornering her against a tree that Kusano created and raising her chin as if he were going to kiss her. Sayo. What do you think you do? Tsukiumi. Why can't I? Said, trying to get out of his grasp, but he couldn't, and Issei was being consumed by his anger, increasing his regeneration. Sayo. It seems that you have taken very good care of my Sekirei. Tsukiumi. Mindly, I can't move. Why? Sayo. My power as Ashikabi is something that was given to me by Takedo. It is a little special, so how will you pay for this? Said, watching as Issei got up with difficulty, which worried Tsukiumi when he saw how he got up in that state. For her. Oh, I have an idea, maybe I will give you wings right here and make you my personal slave. He said, and she got scared, and Issei whispered some words. Tsukiumi. Mindly, no, the one I don't want it, the one I want is that one. She thought while remembering his words and how he protected her from that attack. Albion, divine dividing scale male. Was heard, and a white light illuminated the place, and where Issei was, a white armor with blue touches appeared, surprising everyone, but what surprised them most was that the helmet disappeared. There was Issei's face. Issei. Issei. See you. He shouted with great anger, scaring the man. Get away from her. She's my Sekirei. She said, suddenly disappearing from the place where she was and taking Sayo by the head while looking at him in a serious and intimidating way, but Tsukiumi was very surprised and blushed at that statement, while Sayo let go of her. Making Issei also let go when he saw how he left her to take her protectively, which made the girl's heart race even more, but on the other hand, Taiga and Asuka began to beat Sayo. Taiga. You plan to deceive us right in front of us. Said, very angry and with an aura of death. Sayo. Wait, I still haven't recovered from the fear. Said while trembling, still remembering Issei's look. Asuka. You told us that we would be your only Sekirei, didn't you? Said, unsheathing her sword, scaring the man even more, while Issei lowered Tsukiumi from the tree and then took off his armor, surprising Tsukiumi. Tsukiumi. You. She said, looking at Issei, who looked back at her. You said that I was your Sekirei, right? She said, a little embarrassed. Issei. If I want you to be my Sekirei. He said without hesitation even a bit. Tsukiumi. I'll make you take responsibility for your words. Said as her cheeks turned a pretty pink. Issei. Responsibility? Said a little confused. Tsukiumi. Don't play dumb. She said a little angrily while having a pout. You said I was your Sekirei. Issei. Yes, I did. Said while looking at the girl. Tsukiumi. Without a second's hesitation, without being afraid of me, you hurt yourself to protect me, you even got up with that injury to face that evil Ashikabi. Said, starting to walk in the direction where Issei was. I don't think I should call you a monkey after everything that you did. You have a lot of guts. I miss a small part of my heart that screamed rejection. Now it's just sad and crying so much that it's annoying and painful. What's your name? Issei. Issei. Hi to Issei. Said as he looked at the girl. Tsukiumi. Issei. 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 Said to record his name. Issei. We may not know each other very well, but I swear that I will love you with all my heart and for all eternity. Said sincerely and confidently, which surprised Tsukiumi, making her blush quite a bit at that statement. Tsukiumi. What a strange man. He said with a slight smile. Very good, the Sekirei. Tsukiumi humbly accepts your marriage proposal. He said, and Issei opened his eyes, shedding some tears, but he stretched out his arms waiting for his new Sekirei, who understood the message. Launching herself where he was, where they immediately joined their lips, where beautiful blue wings appeared on the girl's back. Mind, what is this feeling? This is the feeling that grows and grows from the bottom of my heart. It is very warm and strong. This is taking my wings. After that, Tsukiumi looked lovingly at her Ashikabi to say a few words. Out of the mind Issei, from this moment on, I Tsukiumi will be the only one who will have the right to kill you. She said and immediately moved away. Issei. Tsukiumi-san. Said strangely at the sudden distance. Tsukiumi. With Tsukiumi it's fine, now you are my Ashikabi, now we are one. She said and then turned to look at him with a slight blush. Now and forever. Asuka. We were fighting for nothing. Said somewhat depressed. Taiga. So it seems. Said quite tiredly, and suddenly Kusano and Akitsu jumped to hug Issei, making Tsukiumi angry. Issei. Ku-chan, Akitsu, calm down, I'm fine. He said to calm the two of them down. Tsukiumi. So those two are your Sekirei. He said with a marked vein on his forehead and had a slight twitch in his eye. I'll ignore the fact about the little girl, but you. He said, pointing at Akitsu. I'm his real wife. She said, and Akitsu looked at her angrily but didn't say anything as three voices rang out. Yusubi Hikari Hibiki. Issei-san. Honey. Said the three of them, arriving at the place, hugging Issei with concern. Issei. Musubi-chan, Hikari, Hibiki. Said looking at the three girls who were glad that he was okay. Hikari. Honey, are you really okay? Said very worried since she saw his very damaged scalp. Issei. Don't worry, I'm fine. He said while caressing her head affectionately, making Tsukiumi angry. Musubi. What a relief, they weren't in trouble, were they? Said, drawing attention, and Tsukiumi had another vein marked by anger. Issei. There was no problem, girls, let me introduce you to Tsukiumi, the new member of our family. Said, surprising Hikari and Hibiki, who thought that she would never accept, while Musubi looked at her very happy, but Tsukiumi was not very happy. Tsukiumi. Issei, how many? She couldn't finish while a purple aura surrounded her. How many Sekiryutei do you have? She said, and Issei was very nervous. Issei. Well, the truth is precious. Was about to say when he received a call. Matsu. Ice-tan. Ice-tan. What is happening? I can't find you, I only see trees. He said, calling through his communicator. Issei. With you there are 7. Said, surprising and angering Tsukiumi even more, but he couldn't attack him since he thought he was still injured. Tsukiumi. Husband, we'll talk about this later. Said while emanating a frightening aura. Villa Isumo. Mia. They're taking a long time to get back, it's almost time for dinner. She said a little worried while hanging up the clothes. Hikari. Haha, when you say those things, you sound like her mother, Mia. Said without thinking, but when she realized it, Mia gave her a very scary look. Mia. Her mother. Said, and behind her a Hanyu mask appeared and Hikari just turned around in fear. Hikari. I don't mean her older sister, yes her older sister. Said with many nervousness while breaking out in a cold sweat. Mia. You're right, I think I'm like an older sister to them, but what am I to say-san? She said, surprising Hikari a little, and when she was about to say something, a voice was heard. Musubi. We are home. Said very happy and animated. Mia. Ara, it seems like they're back. She said when she heard her student's voice, but when they opened the door she got a little surprise. Oh, wow. She said when she saw a new face which didn't leave Issei's side like a Kitsu, Hikari and Hibiki. Issei. We're home. Said with a nervous smile since those 4 would surely fight for him. Musubi. Homemade, we're back home. Said very animated. Tsukiumi. Issei, who is that woman? Said a little jealous since she seemed like an ideal wife. Issei. This is Asama Mia-san, the landlady and owner. Said calmly while Tsukiumi looked at her suspiciously. Mia. Issei-san, who is that? Said a little jealous. Issei. Ito Mia-san, she is my. Couldn't finish since she spoke. Tsukiumi. I'm his wife. Said taking the words out of her mouth, but that angered most of the Sekiryutei. Hikari. Hey, stop honey, he's my husband. Hibiki. Hikari, don't forget about me. The Kitsu. Master is my husband. Said calmly but with a touch of anger. Mia. Oh, wow. Said very surprised by how direct they were. Musubi. Wife. Said while something was born in her, and Kusano, who was angry. What was that? My heart feels a little dark, she said, not angry but rather very cute, and Kusano kept the girls away from Issei because of her jealousy. Tsukiumi. What do you think you're doing, little girl? She said very angrily when she saw how Kusano took him away from her. Hikari. Ku-chan, that wasn't good. Said scolding the little girl who was hugging Issei. Hibiki. It's true, you're still very small. Said emphasizing that fact. The Kitsu. Master is my husband. Said without paying much attention to the environment to hug Issei's right arm, and Musubi was a little depressed as she did not understand what she was feeling. Tsukiumi. You two let him go. Said quite angrily, but neither of them moved away. Issei. Musubi-chan, calm down. Said trying to relieve the girl who was surrounded by an aura of depression. Musubi. Issei-san, me too, I'm your wife. Said, going to him to hug him. Tsukiumi. You too, stay away. She said furiously when she saw all her rivals. I'm the real wife. While that was happening, Matsu was very amused by the scene and didn't know whether to participate or not, and Kagari was surprised to see the scene now with his hands and body more recovered thanks to Issei. Matsu. It's like a novel which is the Ifufu legal wife, but it's obvious that it's me Ifufu. Kagari. But you're not participating, you're really not going. Said without understanding the scene. Matsu. Okay, Ice-tan loves me with all his heart, and when I join the novel, we will make love, I show him all my love in my Ifufu way. He said, correcting himself. Kagari. You're a degenerate. Said simply. To then see Issei, who hugged his Sekiryutei with great affection, which made her smile. Mind having so many Sekiryutei in addition to winning over Tsukiumi, who hates the Ashikabi, and how can I forget how you healed my wounds, Hyoudou Issei, you are a very mysterious guy. Tsukiumi. I know in that case we'll have a duel. Said, preparing her attack, but Issei showed up his glove. Albion. Divide divide divide. Said disappearing to Tsukiumi's attack who was surprised just like Miya and Kagari. Issei. No, precious, here fights are prohibited and as for the rest, I will get a ring for everyone. Said to calm Tsukiumi, who turned around and saw Miya who was looking at her with a sweet smile that was scary and she could also see a Hanya mask at her side, which scared her a lot. Miya. It's true I won't allow violence in the vicinity of Villa Izumo. Said seriously while holding a stick to shake the clothes. Tsukiumi. Mind she's scary. Said looking at the woman. Musubi. I'm sorry, landlady. Said very embarrassed. Yukari Hibiki. We're sorry. Said somewhat embarrassed. Miya. What about you? Said looking at Tsukiumi who got scared. Tsukiumi. As they say, when you go to Rome, do like the Romans and here the Rome seems to be your home dono. Said very nervously. Issei. Miya-san, sorry for not calming you down before. Said a little embarrassed and Kusano was trembling with fear, but Akitsu kept clinging to his arm. Miya. The Sekirei project. Said and Issei didn't understand why she said that now. Issei. Why are you telling me that? Said somewhat confused. Miya. You know for nothing that my husband was a researcher at MBI. Said and he nodded. Issei. I assumed he would know. Said as if nothing had happened while caressing Kusano's head, who was squeezing his leg quite tightly. Miya. I did have a general idea of what was happening, but it surprises me that they are all Issei-san Sekirei, right? It seems that Izumo village will be filled with many new faces. She said with a smile since Issei's Sekirei always smile happily when they are with him. Tsukiumi. I'm your wife, Tsukiumi, I'll be counting on you, landlady Dono. He said, posing proudly as he said those words. Musubi. Musubi, also his wife. Said with great encouragement. Yukari Hibiki. I'm Hibiki and we are loving wives. They said with a smile. Akitsu. Akitsu is a teacher's wife. Said while leaning her head on Issei's shoulder, and that made Tsukiumi even more jealous until she turned around noticing someone. Tsukiumi. You won't be, he said looking at Kagari who left the place without saying anything, but stopped to see what she would say. Wait, who were you? He said with great confusion trying to think of who she reminded him of, and Kagari fell to the floor, thinking that he would recognize her. I feel like I know someone who is a lot like you. Kagari. Who knows? Aren't you confusing me with someone else? She said getting up from the floor. I'm Kagari, nice to meet you. She said leaving the place, leaving the Sekirei and Issei there. Mindly, all I did was take off my mask, I guess I feel relieved maybe it was something pathetic. Matsu. Kagari-tan. Said stopping the boy. Kagari. What? Said without turning around. Matsu. Are your burns okay now? If you don't stabilize your power it will soon get worse. She said a little worried. Kagari. I'm fine, Issei-san did something that cured me. She said and Matsu understood, remembering the explanation from a few hours ago. Or are you saying that I should have my wings? Matsu. It would be best if not your body. Kagari. There is no need to say that to someone who has failed to be winged. I have not been chosen by anyone, nor will I choose anyone, I just have a wish to kill him with these hands. Said and felt a pain since the healing was very basic. But at least enough. Matsu. Kagari-tan. Said when he noticed how he writhed in pain. Kagari. Don't worry, I'll go to work, tell Miya that I won't need dinner. She said, leaving the place a little badly. Yukari's room. In the room, Sekirei 107 nicknamed Shai-chan was taking a shower, and on the other side of the door was Yukari. Yukari. Mind, I want to spy. Wait, no. She thought, trying to calm down. Out of mind, in the end I spent the night here, but being alone with a boy. She said with a big blush and a little perverted face. Memory. Shai-chan. I am your Sekirei, please accept the contract. He said, approaching Yukari to stretch his lips waiting for a kiss, but Yukari did not understand. Yukari. Contract. Said very nervously. Shai-chan. A contract that states that I belong to you. Said and Yukari blushed and had a nearly fatal runny nose. Yukari. Wait a minute. She said very nervous. I don't understand what you mean. She said, trying to get him to explain. Anyway, what is a Sekirei? Shai-chan. The Sekirei project, that is the name of the game that is being carried out in Tito. Said seriously. Yukari. Game? Said a little confused. Shai-chan. Yes, and thanks to that we Sekirei were freed to look for our masters, our Ashikabis. Yukari. Mind normally I wouldn't believe something like this, but it doesn't seem like he's lying. Shai-chan. I'm Sekirei number 107 Shiina, I'm probably your Sekirei. Said somewhat shyly. Yukari. Probably. Said somewhat curious. Shiina. I say probably because I haven't confirmed the sensation I have in my body yet. When I say confirm I mean making contact through mucous membranes, that's why. She said simply and calmly. Yukari. Mucous membranes, you mean a kiss, right? Said with her cheeks a little pink from the proposition. Sheena. If you want, we could even do something else. End of memory. Yukari. Mine do something else, she thought while she felt the area of her lips with her fingers, but she got scared when Sheena opened the door. Sheena. Thank you for letting me take a bath. Said timidly, which caused Yukari to have another nosebleed, fainting while smoke was coming out of her head. Is something wrong? He asked and she immediately got up while covering her nose. Yukari. No, it's nothing. She said trying to stay calm. Mind, I can't tell my mother or my brother about this, besides I haven't seen Issei Oni-chan yet. Mind, what? How about we go shopping tomorrow? He said, getting up from the floor. I don't have any boy clothes, you'll need a change of clothes for something like that. Sheena. But what if people like yesterday chase me? Said with great concern. Yukari. No problem, I have come up with a plan. Said with great confidence. Villa Izumo dining room. The eating table was completely full as Issei was eating together with all his Sekirei and Miya, although Tsukiumi discovered something. Tsukiumi. Huh? She's also Issei's Sekirei, she said pointing at Matsu. Issei. Yes, she is my pretty Matsu. Said calmly as he helped Kusano eat, and Matsu smiled happily at what he said. Matsu? That's right, I'm your pretty Matsu, it's a pleasure to meet you, Tsukiumi-tan. He said kindly and with a smile. Tsukiumi. The tan is not necessary. Said a little angrily as she looked at her until someone else arrived. Yuzum. Oh, you have another. Said entering the place. Issei. Long time not seeing you, Yuzum-san. Said looking at the girl who was smiling when she saw him. Tsukiumi. Issei, don't tell me that she. He said looking angrily at Issei. Issei. No, she is not my Sekirei. Said turning to look at Tsukiumi. Yuzum. Whisper, for now. My Ashikabi is not here. Said lying, something that Dragon Albion noticed. Tsukiumi. In that case there is no problem. She said while looking at the girl in front of her. I'm Tsukiumi, nice to meet you. Yuzum. I'm Yuzum, it seems that you will have many rivals but good luck anyway. He said and she remembered that it was true. Issei. Yuzum-san, don't say that, I told them I would be everyone's husband, well in Ku-chan's case I'm like her father. He said and the little girl got upset. Tsukiumi. Anyway, I wouldn't even classify them as rivals since I am Issei's legitimate wife. Said smiling arrogantly, which made the other girls angry. Yukari. Which gives you the right, we met him first, right, Hibiki. Hibiki. That's right, Yukari, we know him more than you, that's why we deserve to be his legitimate wives. Musubi. Musubi is also his legitimate wife. Said a little angrily and Kusano moved around, pouting and tantrum. Akitsu. I am the teacher's real wife. Said without getting up from her place to continue eating. Tsukiumi. Do you at least know what it means? Said looking at Musubi. Musubi. I have no idea. Said in front of her, and Issei looked at this tiredly because before he only saw Arias and Akeno Ravel and Kaneko fighting, but now it was all of them, although Matsu saw this very amused and Akitsu fed him trying to look like his wife. Akitsu. Husband, said calmly, stretching out his chopsticks. Issei. Thank you, Akitsu, said, and she fed him with a slight smile, but everyone seeing that wanted to imitate him. Musubi. Oh, Issei sensei, said stretching out some scrambled egg. Yukari. Honey, come on, said holding out her own chopsticks. Hibiki. Me too, honey, said imitating her sister. Tsukiumi. Issei, you understand, don't you? If your mouth gets close to that, you won't live long, she said as she squeezed the chopsticks that broke from the force. Issei. But darling, they are just being kind and affectionate like you. Said a little nervously since he knew the dangers of an angry woman. Kusano. Hi. Said stretching out a piece of meat that stuck to Issei's face imitating the others. Tsukiumi. Despite being a girl. Said very angry when she saw how she did the same thing, but she felt happy for what Issei had said. Yuzum. It's getting more and more lively around here. Said watching the scene. Miya. Yes, it will probably be more fun too, and don't doubt there will be more coming. Said, and Yuzum smiled since she also wanted to join in on that. Bathroom. Tsukiumi. Issei, even though he hurt his back because of me, he didn't want me to wash it. He said with a little sadness and pain when he remembered that. Sharing the bed and the bathroom are consents for the Ashikabi. He said inside the bathroom along with Musubi, Yukari, Hibiki and Akitsu, who were just taking a calm bath after a long day. Musubi. Share the bed? What do you mean by that? Asked the very innocent Musubi. Tsukiumi. Means a man and a woman sleeping together. said without much emotion. Musubi. In a bed. Yard. Issei. It's a nice night. He said looking up at the sky and the moon with Kusano by his side. I hope they continue like this. He said and Kusano turned to look at him. Kusano. Hey, Ani-chan. She said, drawing Issei's attention, who looked at her. Who do you like? She said, surprising Issei. Issei. Why do you ask that? He said a little curious, but she just stared at him. Ah well, I like them all the same. Bathroom? Tsukiumi. It's something that's better for you not to know. Said being inside the bathroom while Musubi asked some things while Hikari and Hibiki looked at this with a drop of sweat falling from their heads and Akitsu only focused on bathing since she and Issei are sleeping. On the same futon. Musubi. But I am also his wife. Yard. Issei. Musubi-chan, Hikari, Hibiki, Akitsu, Matsu, Tsukiumi, and you too my little Kuu-chan. He said caressing the little girl's head who smiled happily. We are all united by an unbreakable bond that I will protect with everything I have, that's why I will give you all my love and affection, just as you do too he said, and she hugged him to give him a kiss on his cheek. Kusano-chu. Issei. Thank you my little one. Said very happily to return a kiss on her forehead as if he were her father. Kusano. I love you, Ani-chan, stay with Kuu forever. He said and Issei smiled at that. And when I grow up, make me your girlfriend. He said and all the girls felt true terror. Bathroom. Tsukiumi. What was that? She said getting up from the tub. Hikari. It feels like someone is taking advantage. Said very angrily as her rays began to travel through her. Musubi. Yes I felt it too. Said getting up from the tub. Hibiki. Where is Akitsu? He said, turning to look everywhere since she was not there. Yard. Issei. It's a promise. He said, but then he felt someone hug his arm, finding Akitsu. It would be good if we didn't have to fight and just enjoy these moments. He said to look towards the horizon. MBI office. Akami. I have confirmed that number 09 has received her wings. Manaka. It's time, there are only a few left, but they'll figure it out Yufufu, the time is right. The economy, technology and the network we no longer have anything to fear, the little birds that flew to Earth, I will gladly be the jester, it will be a festival. The setting will be the same Shinto Tito, and the Sekirei project will enter its second phase. That's it guys. Thanks for watching and supporting us. See you in the next part.